Hello and welcome to this week's edition of the Sacred Society podcast with myself here, X.
Dadpool.
And we have some old friends that are back here from the Bay Area.
What up?
Yeah, we're not even going to do a long intro. What's up, Bill?
What up?
It's Rudy from the Retrofix.
Yeah, what up?
And
Charlie, also from the Retrofit.
hey, what's going on? How you boys doing today?
I'm doing great.
Phenomenal in the sanctum, man.
I know.
Exactly.
Welcome back. You guys were here for our potluck a few weeks ago, right?
Yeah, it was delicious.
Yeah. How was it?
It was delicious.
Those biscuits and gravy, those were something to write home about for sure.
Damn.
Nice. Yeah. That one, I believe, goes out to Robert. So, congratulations to Robert. You are the biggest redneck of them all. So, what is going on, brother? How you doing?
Oh, man, I am doing good. It's another week. What are we, 2 weeks into the new year now? Or starting our third week into the new year?
Yeah,
Holy
I
shit,
think
man.
so. How many people want to hit reset?
Yeah, I know, right?
How many people have hit reset?
Yeah, that's true.
Well, how many people have quit their resolutions already is the better question, because, I was trying to go on this. I'm not going to buy a whole lot of shit. I'm going to stop buying dumb stuff for toys and whatnot, but that went out the window like day 3. I was like, nope, I got to get these figures. I had to.
You made it 3 days.
Yeah, and
That's pretty good.
that was some good willpower for 3 days. Absolutely. But no, other than that, just, business as usual over at Intergalactic. It's starting to slow down, obviously, because of the time, and I think everybody's already spent all their Christmas money, so now it's just who's ever got spending money from whatever. But no, other than that, dude.
Tax checks coming in.
Yeah, that's coming up real quick. Probably at the end of the year, or at the end of the month is when everybody gets their W-2s.
Yeah.
So, but
Supposed to, at least.
yeah, we'll see.
We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
How
about you?
For me, man, I have... Fuck you, Hunter, you piece of shit. You goddamn... I know you're listening to me in your rich fucking car in your rich neighborhood, you fucking asshole. Got me sick.
The DM.
Yeah, fucking... just like a normal white guy to gentrify my fucking body and make sure that I get sick. He gave me the blanket of influenza. What's that in D&D? I rolled the critical 1, you piece of shit.
That was the dengue
That being
fever.
said, I love it, Hunter.
Absolutely.
No, I had a good week, man. I was excited to see you guys again, coming on down. Just finished the first episode of Sakamoto Days yesterday.
Yes.
Same.
That is a good show. I watched it a couple days ago.
I heard about it on TikTok back in like 2021, which was like the precursor to Way of the House Husband. Mm-hmm. And good old Sansu was laughing because she goes, "That's basically
the whole time I'm watching it. I was like, "Is this Sacred 8?"
Yeah,
like,
it is 120% the Sacred 8 anime. It is a really good anime that I've really enjoyed. I tried the new Goosebumps. To be honest, did not really care for it. I tried.
Really?
If anyone has watched any of the True Detective stuff, I think when it comes down to it, it is one of those things that there's drama, there is intense like writing and how people kind of look at things. But I'll be honest, like it almost feels like a CW show with the guy from was it
Supernatural
Friends?
or whatever it was.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
David Schwimmer.
Yeah, him. I never watched Friends.
Same.
So it's not bad,
Right.
but it's just like the entire time it's like, why would you park your car in front of my house? This is disrespect. Episode 2, are you still parking your car and it's disrespect? Then the fucking bad guy shows up, the goosebump portion of it, right? And then proceeds to fuck these kids, these kids.
Yes. Add the comma. Yes, add the comma.
Yeah, and immediately like tear them down. At the end of the fucking day, I told her, I go, this show should be called Goosepumps because it's taking a shot at every single fucking person. But it's funny because, like, what's his name, David Duchovny or whatever.
David Schwimmer.
Sure.
Yeah.
Kinikunu. But I mean, like the thing that I get out of it is. It's written well. They're taking Goosebumps into a very mature avenue. I just think personally, in this light, you look like a very young Robin Williams.
Hey,
good for you.
Well,
you look at Robin Williams, and you look like the dad from Casper.
Okay.
Well, we've decided he looks like Emilio Estevez.
Oh, that too.
Emilio Estevez, the Mighty Duck Man himself.
You're the good brother.
Yes,
you're the
yes.
good brother.
Absolutely.
So who the fuck are you?
I don't know yet. I haven't figured that out.
No.
Fucking,
But we were watching it, and it sucks because every generation fades out. This ties into what you guys do very well. But Friends was a huge show. What year were you born?
1980.
80. You were born
90.
90,
74.
and I was born 89. What up? And we see a lot of people like Joe Rogan being on the newsroom.
Mm-hmm.
You would never think that guy who was the comedy relief of like, "Duh,
Yeah.
this is really fucking weird. There's news on the TV." We're a newsroom, Joe.
Yeah.
Oh, is like one of the biggest podcasts in the world.
Yeah.
But to watch Goosebumps and immediately
guess.
watch, oh yeah, I'm not
That's
going
going to be the name.
That is.
This episode's
yeah.
called Goosebumps.
and to watch this
the
and to
claps.
see that actor from Friends kind of be like a second-rate character. It's interesting to see how certain people age. I feel some things pop culture-wise don't age well, and there's a very finite thing that does. Rodney Dangerfield, you don't imagine him young, right?
No.
Never
He's always
had.
been old,
Yeah,
right?
he's always
Yeah.
been old, right? Like literally one of my favorite lines we've said on the previous
Yep.
pods are some of his insults where he says, he goes like, "I get no respect. I was always an ugly child. No one ever fucking loved me when I was a child. I tried to breastfeed when I was a baby, and my mom said she saw me as a friend." You know what I mean? Like, yeah, I try to talk to my kids about the birds and the bees, and he tells me about my wife and the milkman. Like,
No respect.
no respect, yeah. But you see him as someone who's kind of aged into his prime.
Right.
You guys are very well known for pop culture, video games. You guys are known for manga, hentai, now TCGs, now Gundams, and all these other things. And obviously, we have our shtick that we
Right.
do. What, personally, that I'm asking, what do you feel is something that did not age gracefully in video games and or like a collectible style? And what did? Like, surprisingly, you would never... Like, it only got better with time. What would be those things for you?
That's interesting. Well, before you added that little extra to it, I was going to like the customers. but you kind of like, save you from that. Geez, what didn't age well? Well, seeing as we get a lot of stuff that comes in, everything is definitely generational. So it's really a matter of perspective on how things are going to age and the perception of them. Something I like to tell my customers and our clientele basis is that the retro generation, truly for me, Charlie, you probably agree with this, 6th generation was really the last retro generation, right? So some of that stuff didn't age well, but the majority of it did. It's not a lot, just a little bit. And then there's the stuff that you wouldn't expect to have done as well as it done. Like right now, we're seeing a Xbox 360 renaissance.
Yeah.
And there's so much saturation of that platform that it was just, we have tons of it. And it's like, well, it's never going to sell. It's never going to be the next retro. And it is. It's
Wow.
just a matter of consumption. So it's really hard to say like specifically what did not age well. If I had to say anything, probably Atari, but we didn't even carry that in the store because the demographic just fell off a long time ago. And I don't want to say Nintendo's going to do that, but it eventually will do that, It's
Well, look at what
it's
happened
more of a
with
slower
Sega.
burn. It's more a slower burn.
Sega was, in my day, it was like the two rivals between Nintendo and Sega.
Yeah.
And they were in the game for a long time. PlayStation showed up, Xbox showed up, Microsoft showed up, and they weren't in the game for very much longer. They pulled back. They stopped making systems. They were like, we're just going to concentrate on software. We're just going to make really cool games. So the fact that they went from, and I just watched this little documentary about Sega and how they're actually an American company. They're not a Japanese
They're
company.
not.
Like, I mean, they're
a Japanese company now.
Now
but
they are, but they started
as an American company known as Service Games.
service games. Yeah.
In the 1940s that made video game hardware, was actually training hardware for the U.S. Navy.
Correct.
And that's what they
Yeah.
did.
Yeah.
And
They
got
could have
sold.
fooled me. Do you think that they went into like their first markets when they immediately were like, "Oh, hello, welcome to Sega Game. This is the best thing ever." And you're like, you're just a white dude, right? You go, no, I'm Big Fresh from Hiroshima.
They also
how
did,
many orders I need to order?
They also did slot machines.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah, they did slot machines, which were pretty cool. I used to actually have one. Somebody stole it off my porch, though, which was like...
God damn it.
it was heavy as hell, too. I was like,
yeah.
I guess if you can
100
lift that thing and steal it, you kind of earned it. So I was too lazy to take it in the house because it was fucking heavy.
Teacher, Why did you have a slot machine on the front porch?
Because it had Sega on it, and I bought it.
I mean, normally people put that in the house.
Yeah, I had a lot of stuff.
An entrepreneur right there. That's a true
Well,
entrepreneur.
he's trying to get anybody that comes by 50
Yeah,
cents.
hey,
throw
come
them
on
up.
in.
Yeah.
Look at you. Your wife doesn't love you. Come in for a spin.
I had a lot of actual stuff on my porch. I had a Sega Hang-On arcade machine on my porch. I was actually fixing my porch to have all this cool shit, and I never got around to it because running a game store, commuting 2 hours both ways was killing me.
Yeah.
And so one morning I was like, my slot machine's gone. I'm like, well, it's been sitting out there for like 8 months, so
So somebody
just got
wants
tired
better
of looking
than
at
me.
it. It is what it is. I wasn't really tripping. I was like, whatever, shit happens. It's Stockton.
Oh yeah. Well, that's right. You're both from the same area. You both are from Stockton.
Both got out too.
Hood. Yeah. Where are you originally from?
I was born right outside of Barcelona, Spain.
Oh yeah. But
And I moved to the U.S. when I was 13 in
Dang.
New York, New York City.
you were like, I found this great machine on some guy's porch. The chump left it there, and I made a fortune.
And I just took it.
Speaking of, the thing is like as you're talking about stuff like the Switch 2 just dropped today,
Yep.
Yeah, no,
and wow, that's my
The
enthusiasm.
Switch 2.
Yeah.
Well, it's a teaser. It's not really.
But
in
that's
depth.
the name.
Yeah.
And Nintendo's never said a name. They never said like Nintendo 2.
Yeah.
They've never had
Yeah.
a 2.
It is
If
a
you-
first.
So that to me, even the past 3 years when they've all the insiders, that's all everyone has called it the Switch 2 as a placeholder.
Yeah.
So I assume like come on, marketing team.
Yeah.
Where are you at? What are you doing with
I
this?
think it works though.
I'm not saying it doesn't. I'm saying that like when everything's trying to be big and bold and wow, look at the bells and whistles. This was just very kind of cut dry. I mean, I'm not a huge gamer, so if it works, I'm happy. I think when it comes to it, the question earlier about what ages well and what doesn't, like when you look at the Wii, I never understood the Wii. Or GameCube. I did not like the GameCube so much because of the
Well, it's because of when we were born. That's why.
yeah,
The
but
small disc.
absolutely,
Lunchbox.
the controllers bothered me.
Yeah, the control
Yeah.
was different.
But I also was like, well, if it's somebody likes it, they like it. Now that seems to be something that with time, people are like competitive wise, they need to have their specific controllers that are that
Definitely.
era. What do you think is something that didn't age well or did age well?
Well, right now I think we're in the period of like I wouldn't even say retro, but the Wii U.
Yeah.
The Wii
A
U.
little bit. Yeah.
It was the Wii's predecessor, and the Wii gets a lot more love in our shop than Wii U games. But there's not to say that the Wii U people aren't out there playing it. It's just the Wii has a lot more fans, I think. So the Wii U.
The marketing was incredible for the Wii too.
Yeah,
Do you remember the marketing for the Wii?
I was living in a van at the time, so no.
Yeah,
We
they used to
went
have.
to play.
Yeah, they would have two Japanese guys from Nintendo of America who would drive this little tiny car all across the U.S. and they'd knock on the door, and then the person would open the door, and they would hand the Wiimote over it and bow and said, "We would like to play," and they would introduce different types of
that's
Wii
right.
games, and it was a great marketing ad where they just two humble Japanese men show up and bring a whole family in to the living room, and they play the Wii games together as a family, and it's just a great family console.
Yeah.
Even like I have certain rules and standards in the store where it's like we have certain cutoffs because we get so much product of certain things.
Oh.
And the Wii is something my staff knows. No matter how many they keep coming in, keep taking them, because end of the year, Christmas time, they're great Christmas gifts.
Gotcha.
Everybody loves the Wii.
Yeah.
It's just a good family system for when family comes over on like Thanksgiving. Hey, let's all do something together. Well, we don't know how to play video games. Perfect. The Wii is intuitive for that. So it's
Well,
gonna.
the Wii was even instrumental in the healthcare service for like senior citizens. They were showing up at the senior citizens home because it was giving them a way to get their seniors active and doing
that
something.
I did not know.
Yeah,
It's
it-
actually
they
the
have
only
like a
console
Wii-
that ever got through the American Cardiovascular
Yes,
Society.
that was a.
It's stamped on some of the boxes, not
Mhm.
all of the boxes for the
Holy
Wii,
cow.
but some of the boxes.
Did not know.
We were too busy being cool.
That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, it even sparked like Wii bowling leagues and stuff like that. I remember at some time, oh God, I remember seeing something about that, how like people at bars and stuff like that were putting in buying big screen TVs just so they could have these tournaments and have people show up and, you know, play for prizes. It's like kind of doing like a Tuesday trivia kind of thing. So yeah,
That's interesting.
I would rather Wii Bowl than Tuesday Trivia.
Yeah.
I'm not even gonna lie. If you guys throw together a bowling league,
All right, what's done?
retro,
We'll
yeah,
do it.
retro,
We'll do it.
retro attack, the Sanctorum, the Sacred Society will start its own Wii bowling team.
Hell yeah, we'll have
to
bowling
support,
shirts.
to support you guys.
Let's do
Yeah.
bowling shirts.
Oh yeah,
All
we
right,
have
all
we
right.
have a seamstress, a friend
Sounds
who
great.
does that stuff. We will absolutely like because we kind of we modeled all of our like the Chad's Chubby Chapes and stuff off of Average Joe's,
Right.
You know, because it wasn't the actual movie, it was the idea of it. But it's true. Like if you were to do a Wii bowling league in Campbell, that would be the best thing ever. Because
Fuck yeah.
you'd have to get this big bag, like, and you know me.
Oh, yeah.
I'll spend the fucking money, this giant gun case, just for this tiny remote.
When
start
I travel
jazzercising my
places.
wrists. Oh no.
You know,
Absolutely.
Oh, X, it's nice to see you. Excuse me.
Oh.
He's stretching his wrists right now, but he's going to the bathroom. He's stretching,
Stretching
his
his
wrists.
That's not all he's stretching.
you know, Sammy would love that. Sammy loves bowling in real life, and she loves the Wii. So, yeah,
Yeah, dude, that would be fucking. That'd be dope.
bowling league.
That's, I mean, it sounds
Well, even the
great.
controller of the Wii, it was. It's based off the N64. N64 is like my favorite game system of like all time. Like I still have an N64. My son and I play on the regularly just because we love Mario Kart, and we even have a Dragon Ball Z Mario Kart mod that we get, and we just fucking go ham on that thing, dude, like all the time. In fact, yeah, just about 2 weekends ago, we were at the SAC Anime. I had no idea that it was even going on. Our other friend from the shop, Killer Motors, Edwin Uwu, he was there, and he had the VIP pass. He let my son have it. We went and got a Funko Pop of Goku because the voice of Goku and the voice of Krillin were there, and so we got to meet
That's
them.
dope.
And
That's
just
cool.
talking with them, we were telling them about that video game, and they were like, "We had no idea that game was out." Well, it's a mod; somebody made it for us. But yeah, dude, like Krillin's my son's favorite character, and I was like, that game is dope. But again, that controller. The Wii controller was based off of taking the Nintendo 64, the little controller with the
nunchuck,
stick.
yeah,
That's
middle.
the middle piece of the controller.
Yeah.
And like looking at that, I was like, ooh, Nintendo, you got us good with that one. Because they went from the Nintendo 64 controller to the GameCube controller. And then after that is when that one came out. So, but yeah.
One thing Nintendo's never afraid to do something different, like the waggle controls on on the Wii,
Yeah.
and the GameCube with the smaller discs and things like that. They're never afraid to
Shit,
change.
think back
things.
to when they first put out the Game Boy, right? The first Game Boy. And they went right from that to the virtual Game Boy before they did a color. Because do you remember, guys? I don't know if you remember the virtual had
Boy,
it was
yeah.
all in red though.
Yeah.
I remember playing like a Wario game at I was at Toys R Us there in Stockton.
The Virtual Boy.
I remember we used to go and like put that on there and just play for fucking hours, like whatever the little demo would allow you to play and
Yep.
shit. But
It was usually
I
a while.
lasted 30 minutes before I started seeing and hearing things. The epileptic seizures and everything. Where it's like, oh, yeah. It's I'll burn everything. I go, no, Wario, no. What would
told me to burn things.
Yeah. Wario said if I did it, I'd get a girlfriend. Who? What would be yours that aged well and didn't age well?
for me, it would probably be the arcades themselves. You know, because growing up, that was the thing. That was the only way you could play any video games was when you went to a pizza restaurant or you went to an arcade place that was specifically for that kind of activity. Yeah, arcades got along the way, but towards the mid 90s when I was still working for Tilt Arcade, like I started to see the decline of people even really wanting to come to the arcades. Like they were there for the fighting games, but then once Sega put out the Sega Saturn, once Neo Geo's system became a little bit more readily available to everybody and getting like true arcade experiences now at home, that started to kill the fucking arcade industry. And so like even now when I just went to Dave & Buster's like a couple weeks, about 3 weeks ago, and I remember the idea of like going to a Chuck E. Cheese or going to an arcade. It was like, dude, you'd have $4 or $5 in your pocket and you would have to try to make that shit last. I go to this Dave & Buster's and you have to pay like $22 and you get only so many tokens, which it's quite a bit for what they're offering. But when most of these games are taking like 9 or 10 credits for just one play, and that's for one person, it's gone faster than when you're playing with $4 or $5 in your pocket. But the gaming experience isn't the same. Like the Godzilla VR game that we played, Whew, it was phenomenal. I talked about it on the pod about like how I had to keep taking the glasses off because it was so like I don't even know how to explain it. It was just fucking with my senses to the point where I'm sitting in a chair, but I didn't have anything secured me in. So like you're going up and you're going down, and I kept having this feeling like I'm gonna fall out of this chair if I don't have
the
something.
immersion effect.
Yeah, exactly. And so, but it was still a fun game. I never would have dreamed that I would have been able to play something like that as a kid. The closest I would have gotten to that would have been Operation Wolf. For those that don't know what that is, it was a video game that had a
Mac
Uzi,
10.
like a Mac 10 on it, and sometimes they had the 2 players, and it was like, you know, your Aerosmith games, your Terminator 2, and all these other shooting games, but the guns were always fixed to the cabinet. They weren't like Area 51 or Time Crisis and all these other versions. So to see something like this that's incorporating virtual reality with the video game gun, and you're just blowing away shit, to me is just fucking phenomenal. But the gaming experience itself, like some of the games that they had in there, it was a Hot Wheels game, and it was a redemption kind of game. Had a steering wheel, had a stick for low and high gear, had a gas pedal. Not that familiar from a pole position. One of the first games I remember playing.
I think my sister plays that.
Yeah. Is she number 1?
Well, you can pay it and find out.
Quarters up on the table.
Oh my God.
Quarters on the glass. That's right. Remember, you just put your quarter up when it's my turn on the game next. Any rate, I forgot what I was going to say with this, but no, it's just the fact that like the game experience now with that driving game, with that Hot Wheels one that they're giving, it's no different than when you're on your phone and you get one of those Go games, you know, where it's just like the Temple Run or whatever it is. That's all it was. So they only have that in that giant cabinet. It's got all the lights and sounds, and it makes it look all cool. But when you look at the guts and bolts of it all, it's like, that's just such a cheap game. Pole Position, the game that I remember playing, had way more anxiety driven in that thing because you had 4 gears to shift in. And the screen is barely doing anything. Like the middle part is all that you're turning left or right just to stay on the track. And so like I said, to see the gaming experience that I remember as a kid, to see where it had gone, to see where it's at, and it's like, it's just lost. It's lost something that I remember as a kid being like, that is the best place that I would want to spend my time.
I would probably, up until like a few months ago, I would have absolutely agreed with you. But in recent, my mind has been very changed in the concept of arcades. Charlie probably understands where I'm going to go with this. Back in November, the Retrofix hit its 5th year anniversary.
Fuck yeah. Congratulations.
Thank you. And Charlie, that was around the time a couple weeks ago before he came back to the shop. And we cleared everything out, the 2 of us, and we installed a full-on Japanese arcade in there.
Fuck yeah.
So I come to learn about how arcades essentially kept evolving outside the U.S. So in the U.S. market, somebody who ran an arcade, you would saw the eventual decline of these machines because home consoles were beating them out left and right. In Japan, they revolutionized the arcade industry. Even to this day, they do. And now the American side of it, just as you're telling me that Godzilla VR Experience, Raw Thrills, companies like that, they actually still have arcade expos that take place in Las Vegas. I deep dived all this stuff. The Neo Geo. Right, the Neo Geo is very popular. In Japan, they have something called the Exa Arcadia, which is essentially the new Neo
version.
Yes, it's the new Neo Geo. So arcades ceased in the US, yes, but they continue to evolve in Japan. And so we brought a flavor of that over to the Retrofix. So we used to be above a arcade bar, a Level Up, a gastropub is what it's called, and it closed September of 2023. And for an entire year, while that space was vacant below us, I would hear, what happened to the arcade? Is the arcade coming back? And I was like, well, somebody else is going to take the bar. Oh, so they bring the arcade back. It's, no, they're not. And the reason why is if that arcade was going to do so well with all the American stuff that they had, it would still be there, but it didn't do well. That's why it went under. So I was like, you know what? If we bring an arcade in, it's no longer a option of, are we competing with anybody, directly,
right,
our tenant? It became more so, how can we take that concept and improve upon it? And that's where we went with the Japanese arcade. And we just charge a flat rate, $10 per person per hour, $20 all day.
Perfect.
It's fantastic.
That's a good deal.
It's a good deal. You can play a lot. We get full Friday night, Saturday afternoon, Sunday afternoon. We stay busy. Families come in. We have a variety of games for people to play. And then every few months, if a machine is not performing well, We swap it out with something else. How can we do this? That's so expensive, right? Nobody could afford all that. Well, I put a little more thought into the whole process of this and actually got signed on with a very good arcade supplier and worked out a contractual agreement to where we just profit share. So there's no
That's
cost
smart.
for me up front. I just provide the space and the clientele. We split the payments. They provide the machines and the maintenance and the service. And it's awesome, right? It's easy. Not an easy concept to do if you don't have a good standing within the community
Right.
that says we vouch for this person, he's worthy of it, and we've done nothing but continue to evolve as a store. So having that arcade is definitely the next big thing for what the Retrofix is going to be, is becoming an all-encompassing retail and / entertainment space. So yeah, arcades, U.S. market definitely died out, but they are on their way back
See that.
with their immersive things. Yes, as you're saying, like you felt like
It's
disoriented.
different. You know what I mean?
It's
But
different,
but at
it's
the same
not what
time,
we grew up with.
but it's still fun. You know what I mean? And that's where I'm like I keep seeing the ones where they have the guys and gals that are standing in the, I guess it's like a harness.
Yeah.
It's a standing harness, and the where you're standing, your feet is concave, so that you can run, and
Yes.
it's all 360
Yes.
movement.
VR
And-
rooms.
Oh fuck, dude! Something like that would be fun.
That's
like
the new arcades.
that's what I would love to start to see. Now, there's another thing that Disney had just released, and it's this flooring, omnidirectional. When you're stepping on it, it'll move in whatever direction you start to turn. It'll move with you, but you never leave the place. Like you're still standing in still. It's like somehow kinetic. I don't know how they're Disney magic. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
it's
They got
Disney
the
ma-
sparkles, but yeah, whatever they're doing, that's the next thing. Is like, it reminds me of Ready Player One and Gamer. Remember
Yeah.
Gamer?
I do, yeah.
Like that's a whole room that you're in, you know, and you're in that space, and whatever you're doing, you're now controlling your player in that.
Yeah, but let's be fucking real. In Gamer, people are legitimately getting fucked and killed.
Yeah.
Gerard Butler is the only guy who slays legitimate
Oh,
pussy
yeah. Yes.
while his wife is getting slayed.
Yeah.
Like, I think arcades are an interesting thing. I've never cared for arcades. I'm always the stick in the mud. Everybody knows
Yeah.
this.
I was gonna say, oh, here we go.
113
Here we
episodes
go.
in. Everybody fucking know that. That's it. We're done. No, I think arcades are one of those things where I just don't see them to be necessary for me, definitely for others, because how we were raised financially. So you have to really have something that makes me want to be there. Or like in I think it was like Sanzu's 25th birthday, we went to Dave & Buster's, and her and her sister were playing every duel game where you're like Ghostbusters or this and that.
Right.
And if I see them having a good time, I'm like, all right, fuck it, I'll hang out here for 5 hours. $300 later, you're like, good lord, what did you win? They're, I got an eraser. It was fuck. Oh, it's a nice eraser. And so I think when it comes down to like what you're saying, how the market treats the world, it's the environment that isn't welcoming. It's not the machines. I loved Dance Dance Revolution as a kid. I was one of those. I lost a lot of weight on that fucking game. I'm not even joking. I have a photo somewhere of my father and I, with me and my fucking sick ass fucking my checkered Hot Topic wristbands and my dreadlocks. It's like, ay, let's go to butterfly. Father, it's me. No, your son. I have no son. Oh, you're doing great. Oh, fucking guy on the screen. So I mean, like, I would love to have an original Dance Dance Revolution or 2 machine one day, because I saw, like, it was fun. It was like exercise, and the arcade in our town was a pizza place. You had Metal Slug, and then they somehow got this there, and it was, if you went during lunch, which I skipped school all the time,
For lunch.
for I didn't skip that. 25 cents was unlimited play for 2 hours. So because there was nobody in town, it's a working class town. So I was like, fuck it. And I actually lost a lot of weight doing that thing. But as I've seen your guys' space, and then there was one of our other buddies who owns the shop over in Brooklyn, when we got to go over there and check his place out, even the one in Muskegon over in Michigan, Levier's Comics, the environment's so fun. You're like, I'm going to give this a try. You're very specific. You're very specific. You're very specific. You know goddamn well why I don't go to movies with you, you son of a bitch. Because I watch movies and I want to watch.
Right.
I don't need some guy being like, oh my God.
Fuck yeah.
There's a fucking dude there on the screen. I go, you mean there's a guy in the movie? Yes. Wow. I don't need somebody yelling at me. But if I went to an arcade with him, I would love it because the hype. You have so much history about stuff. I think that that's what we're seeing because Retro is a really good example of that as his Sacred 8, where, let's be honest, man, and this is no dig to anybody, but a lot of comic book shops, a lot of video game places, they fucking suck. As collectors, as people who are like in the practice of collecting in the community, it's the lack of care because you get it, you guys get so much product, it gets overwhelming. We get a lot of product that's overwhelming. But there's just sour people in some cases that run places, and it kills that joy the same way it did when I was young. So then when I go into a place like yours, it sounds really fun. You get in there, you guys are really nice, and I'm like, oh, this is cool. You ever hear this game? What do you like? What are you into? This is how we kind of got to know each other. Yeah. You want to know exactly what I'm into as a game as I do want to know what you're into as a reader. All of a sudden, I'm like, oh, this person cares. So you like DDR, huh? Chunky Emo, thank you. It's actually, I can't believe you called me Chunky. Yeah. Actually, it's just X. Don't worry, big guy. Didn't they have the foldable DDR pads? Not for you, bud. Yeah, exactly. Oh, you got one of those concave things. Chris comes over.
It wasn't concave before.
It wasn't. Your boy was here. Dude. And so I think a lot of it has to do with like the years that you both have as friends, businessmen, and so forth. The years you have as an individual and us as friends and businessmen. And altogether sitting down and being like, okay, cool, business wise, how do you make something work, right? And then collector wise, how do you make something fun? And you have to find that blend of both. The arcade scene, I think, has done really well overseas when I see it, because they've never forgotten about, aren't you having fun? But they mean it. There's a lot of pachinko, dude.
Yeah.
Oh
Exactly.
shit, I've lost
Exactly.
friends for hours being like, where are they? And
They're not having fun. They have an addiction.
Oh yeah, that is not fun whatsoever. But they'll sit in front of bright lights all day. But then when you get to go to like in Tokyo, when you would go to the red light district, which is not the same as Amsterdam,
Right.
their red light district has the Gundam stores and the retro video game stores. But people are there having a great time because it's like, oh, you got 5 points, you get a ticket. Well, this is nice. So I have to finish the game. No. Every 5 points, you get a ticket. Once you get 10,000 tickets, then you get the eraser. That's pretty fucking cool. Yeah, sure. And then you see somebody every day after work.
Yep.
That's their break from routine becomes a new one, and they enjoy something new. I think you guys are a really good example of why arcades need to come back,
Yeah.
because you're involved in the community. You've seen it how we are with our TCG and comic guys. There's a lot of people who want to read, but you don't need 50 people in a circle being like, hey, Rudy, shh. You know what I mean? Like, nobody fucking needs that. Yeah. Hey, bud. The fuck are you doing? We're going on an adventure. Ugh, I wish I went to the other comic shop. But the inclusivity that you guys have with your community, like you guys were talking about your new expansion, your new ideas last time you were here, and to see it come into fruition, it shows an awareness of like not just what you see in the market, but what you see in players. I think what Nintendo does really well, more than any other company, and this could be ignorant on my part, but they pay attention to what people are playing.
They do.
I have a Switch. I don't know where I got it. I think a client gave it to me or something, and I was like, oh, cool. Sansu plays it, my wife. She plays it once in a blue moon for Animal Crossing. But whenever the in-laws come over, like you said, the ones that can't even play video games, oh, Mario Party, let's go.
Yeah.
It's fun. If they can make Fusion Frenzy on that shit, that'd be amazing.
Yeah.
But what do you think, personally, is that threshold that really separates a place that gets you engaged versus a place that's just kind of the person has good capital and they're like, oh, make it look fun? How do you tell the difference between a good arcade or just like a franchise?
It all comes down to passion.
Yep.
Passion's everything. Passion's the driving force behind why you want to engage with said things. You iterated earlier, like there's good stores and there's bad stores. It comes down to the people who are not just there to sell you, but they themselves also partake in the things that they sell, right? They enjoy.
They're a buyer just as much as you are a seller, basically.
So if somebody comes in, Doom, what's a comic book that you recommend? I like XYZ. You have to try these if you haven't already. Same thing for us. Somebody comes in, Charlie, what's a game you need to check out? It's like, well, if you like these genres, you need to try this, this, and this. It doesn't matter if it's a new release, if it's classic, whatever. A good story, a good game it's always good. Just we always go back, eat pizza. We go back and enjoy things from a child. We go back, listen to the same song 1,000 times over because it's good.
Yeah.
So as long as you care about what it is that you yourself sell or engage with, it's easy to, get other people engaged in those things as well.
Yeah.
Definitely definitely hit that on the head with the passion. I just feel that when you go in anywhere and you feel the love for the things that are around the store, and you feel that love of not just what it is, but the going and doing that said thing. And I think that's what people see in us, because if somebody comes in like, oh, I'm looking at this, it was a young kid, he's probably 19, 20, maybe a week and a half ago, come in, and he's like, he stack of anime, and he's like, oh, this and this, and Rudy's like, oh, have you tried this one? Have you tried this one? Have you tried this one?
Oh, yeah.
And he goes and rattles off 10 more titles for this young kid. And it's like, well, it's not that he just knows that, is he's done it. He's watched it. He's read the manga or he's watched the anime, and he knows X, Y, and Z all about it.
Know the product.
So that to me, I think, is not just the passion, but the heart behind it.
Right. Yeah.
I've always made the joke about people like us, where now like you guys as well, in John Wick, where he's trying to go to the hotel and he's trying to get his shotgun and his knife. And the guy says, I'm looking for dessert. And he goes, dessert. And he goes through all these cutleries and he speaks to things. Every fucking man's band gets a hard on because they're like, fuck yeah, gun go boom, knife go sick. But it's funny because you immediately recognize somebody who's like, ooh, you like this? Let me explain to you why you would like this, why you like that. Any person in any type of hobby or passion, at least in my opinion, appreciates somebody who can look at them eye to eye, but never beneath them.
Right.
Like you look at them as an equal and you say, dude, that's fucking dope. Have you ever tried this? And then you see that person and you're like, well, I actually more prefer this. Fucking rad. Let me show you this. Let me show you that. Like video games, it's funny to me because video games, there are so many out there in the world. And there's a tremendous amount. How do you think people, like the more, I guess for comic nerds, a lot of old school nerds love to gauge how much of a nerd you are by how obscure something is, right?
Yep.
What would be obscure for you guys as like video game guys?
I think I go more. I would go
Systems.
more old age.
It's
more
old
than-
age. It's
than new
definitely
age.
it's definitely an age thing. I had a
Mystic
customer.
Defender over Sonic.
Not even just that.
Hedgehog, things like that.
I had a customer come in the other day. He's like, "You guys buy old stuff?" I says, "Yeah." I says, "We go anything, back to the mid '80s. Nintendo, Sega Master System." He's like, "Would you make exceptions for things?" I was like, "No Ataris." I was like, "The thing is, age." He's like, "What about a VIC 20?" He's like, "Do you know what a VIC 20 is?" I'm like, "I know what a VIC 20 is." He's like, "What about a Magnavox Odyssey?" I was like, "Yeah,
And I said,
know.
"I want to see these nuts."
Mark that. Yes. I was like, that's all cool. Like the people definitely have that same whole aura about themselves. It's like, you know what? You're only as good as the stuff you know. But I always challenge people, like, what can you actually tell me about the last game you played? Versus like, oh, I own all these games. Great. What was the last one you played? What was the last one you completed? And don't tell me
something you always. One of his taglines is, "Play your games, guys.
Play your games.
Play your games."
Play your games.
That. I like
There's
that.
so much sitting on the shelves. People are afraid to open it out of their packages because they're like, well, it's going to lose its value. What value is it to you sitting there in a box? You know, and for
Fucking
me,
buy 2 of them then at that point. Play with one and keep one for that's that's the collector mindset.
So our
right
buddy
there.
Kit, he had that same mentality.
Kit, I love Kit. I know Kit. Yes.
Kit would sometimes buy 3.
Yep.
He goes in double or triple or nothing. You know.
Yeah, absolutely.
One to save for the future, one to
Right.
put on display, and one to keep in box.
Absolutely.
That's how he was. But I love to encourage people. It's all about the moment that you get to experience something, you know, because that moment's so fleeting, and the experiences you carry with forever. At the end of our lives, none of us is going to think about the physical items we own.
Right.
We'll think about the things that we did or the people involved with them. I may own an awesome car at one point in my life, and I did. Do I have any more? Absolutely not. But did I make a lot of memories with it and the people? Hell yes, I did. Did I get in a lot of trouble? Oh, you bet. Constantly. And even recently, I got my ex contacted me, and we kind of went down memory lane talking about this stuff. She's like, you remember how much trouble you used to get in your car? I was like, you're probably one of the few people who actually saw that side of me to got to know how much trouble I got into. And it's just it's the value of a moment, you know, those experiences. So yeah.
What exactly brings you down our guys' way today? Out of all things,
Oh.
what do you guys want to share with us?
We just wanted to be around you guys. That's
Okay.
really it.
Perfect.
Like
Okay, so
mine.
I'm going to need a real big loan. I'm glad you got here. Listen, it's a 2-hour seminar. There's a buffet. You don't have to buy anything.
Googie Grills providing the
Yeah,
food.
exactly. Just say the fucking advertisement menu.
Yes.
You got to share.
Appetizers.
Yeah. Oh no, the kitchen closes in 10 minutes. We can't get there. No, I'm glad you guys came down because it's funny. So let's talk about what's going on in the world right now with collectibles. Like what's going on? Like LA has massive fires. There's
God.
earthquakes going on. There's a lot of craziness, and I'll be honest, a lot of the stuff that we talk about, we complain about, we bitch or moan, or we are excited about, some people are like, that doesn't mean anything compared to what I've just lost or gained, or, you know, I don't give a shit. And to that I respond, it's like, you know what, man, I really hope you find the kind of peace that we're aiming for as individuals. But I also want you to know that you don't have to listen to this podcast. Why are you here? Yeah, leave $1 at the door. But it's funny because you're seeing this craziness going right now with Pokemon. Okay, now Pokemon has to be the one thing all of us can agree affects each and every one of our endeavors as collectors, buyers, sellers, and
Haters.
haters. Straight up.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Right now, people are pushing people
I'm a
out of
hater.
the way for
I like Digimon better.
all that. Pfft, let's go, baby. But there's people over at Costco that are picking fights over
Yes.
these things. The new Prismatic Evolutions. I called 3 other shops this morning. Shout out to Turlock Comics, Game Vaults, and our buddies over at BCNEs over in Reno. And we were talking to them like, dude, what are you selling these at? These boxes are $49.99 at MSRP, and they're going for $399.99
Fucking
because
wild.
scalpers took everything. So now they're going to do a reprint, but the reprints have a second edition on the card. Now, to video game heads, to comic guys, a lot of them don't really care too much unless it's this very specific order that they're saving.
Right.
Card guys, they treat it in a way that is so interesting where Magic players, oh, it's a reprint. Yeah, but this is the original. Who cares? Pokemon, Charizard base set first edition, that makes a lot of difference. So we finally got our shipment confirmed. And now
Nice.
everyone has been saying like they're the new total for them for like the standard shops, because there's a low print on them now, are 100. And I always struggle with raising that amount. Like I struggle with that as a businessman because
Yeah.
I hate gouging.
And somebody with ethics.
It is.
Yeah, I get that.
But at the same time, it's also, you have to think of business,
Gotta
because
pay the
once
bills.
it's gone,
Yeah, it's gone.
it's going to be gone.
Opportunities don't always come.
So here's my question to you guys and the Sanctorum, the society. If you feel like talking about it right now, go ahead and talk to the wall. If you're talking to a cop right now, just completely go tell him to fuck himself. When you get product and you see a rise on that edge, when we see something in the collector's, what's the word I'm looking for? The horizon, and we see where it's going to blow up. What is your first initial reaction when you see everybody? And you guys are in the Bay Area. You know more than anybody. People out there who of all different types, video games, comics, toys, everything.
Yep.
That'll charge 5 times as much. And they're not even scalpers. They're like genuine shops.
Yep.
What is the thing that you always think about when somebody has to look at you not only as a provider for the community but as a business? Because they love going to your place, but you got to keep the lights on at some point. Where's your line for that?
Well, this is the first thing I would think of is those type of people who do that kind of shit is they're assholes. Because if your business lives and dies by random items that come out occasionally, spiking in price, and then you can't figure it out, then maybe business isn't cut out for you. Right? We sell a wide variety of products, and something that myself, Charlie, and Trung, we talked about because we launched the Retrofix 2 Turbo website on our anniversary in late November. As far as I know, we're the only video game store in the Bay Area that actually has a website now.
Okay.
And that took some doing. It took some doing. And so the first thing that the guys and I were talking about is like, what happens if stores who are in SoCal, stores who are in New York, who sell things for way more than we do, start coming to our website and buying stuff? Should we raise the prices online? I says, no. That is not fair. It is not fair for the consumers themselves to get shortchanged on something because they're not local.
Right.
That is not fair. I says, so we're going to charge the same prices? Yes. We're going to offer the same quality? Yes. Are we going to change anything about the way we do it to make more money? No. How do we make money, though? How do we make more money? By continuing to do what we've always done. Good product, good service, be reliable. That's it. Consistency is how you make it. If you have to get a product in and make an extra $50 on it, what does that $50 actually cost you? What does it actually make you? Does it get you more clientele? No. The people coming in to buy it, are they there for themselves because they really want it, or because they're going to turn around and try to scalp it on eBay or something? Probably. Yeah. And I say the best thing to do in the situation is to weed them out. And if you don't want to sell to them, don't sell to them. If you want to say, hey, I'm not going to be selling to any new clientele, this is for our regulars only, and just going to do a raffle for all the people who are currently in your database, this is for you guys and you guys only. Yep. Yeah. If everyone else is upset about it, fucking cry about it. That's what Sammy would say, cry about it. She would always say that, cry about it. And she's not wrong in that instance. There's some situations you can't control. Yeah. When the ones that you can decide what the outcome's going to be. And I don't think sticking it to the customer is ever the right choice.
No. I mean, definitely take care of the people that are in the community. But I always remember the movie Miracle on 34th Street? Yeah. Remember when the Santa's they're this, I don't remember.
I can't find this item for my kid. Oh, well, you need to go over to this one. And then he got in trouble with Mr. Macy.
That's something we have no problem doing. Because they're going to come back and just like that lady said, I'm going to buy everything at your store but bananas. So that's what we want. If I don't got it, or maybe let's say what my Zelda is $10 too high than this guy, that's fine. You're going to come back and you're going to buy X from me, or you're going to come by and buy B from me. Yeah. Because we're honest up front, but like, hey, you know what? I can't really offer you this on that, but I know this store is looking for that. And they'll be able to pay you what you're looking for or closer than what I am. And being able to do that with that, give me that full circle where you're going to come back and buy your Pokemon cards from us, things like that.
Yeah. I mean, I do that all the time at Intergalactic. I mean, that's like the main thing is like, if I know I don't have it, I go down the list of the ones that I know will. And I was like, hey, you know what? I'm sorry, I don't have it. We're waiting to get it in. We want to support local. Cool. We'll go check out Sacred 8. Go check out Sharp Corners. Go check out all these other places, Mythic Games and the Monterey Bay Collector Card Lounge. Like, those are the places that I'll send my customers. And sometimes the owner of the shop kind of gives me a side eye, but I'm like, dude, in the end, you just help that customer get the product they're looking for. Yep. They're going to remember that, and they came here first. Yep. So as long as we continue to be a source, and if we don't have the source and we're offering it to them to someone else, that's good business practice. Between others, that's help building a community. That's what I look at it as. And in the end, we're all trying to get the same thing. And yeah, it sucks that we didn't have that Pokemon pack for you. But you know what? The following week came in. Not only did we have the Pokemon pack, we had some other things that they probably needed or something. So it always comes full circle. So it doesn't hurt to be kind, but shutting the fuck up is always free. I was waiting for him to tell me to shut the fuck up.
Yeah, I was about to say, could you take your own advice? No. It's hard, right? Because here's the thing. How we started off with Magic, like I never wanted to do TCGs.
No. You didn't even want to do single issue comics. You never wanted to do new release comics. You didn't want to do any of that. You're like, just
I didn't want to do. So when we first started Sacred 8, like this all had been an idea since like 2016, 2015. It came to fruition 2019, and I was like, we're gonna do graphic novels and statues. That'll get them going, because we have a large military base. So because of the military, they can't travel with 1,000 comics, but they can travel with 10 graphic novels. And with the shows that unfortunately I don't always get to, but the cold cuts, Mad Mangas,
the vinyl review. What's
the Script and Wax Social Club. Yeah, all the different shows we have. Anytime I show something, I'm like, hey, so this is like, you hear somebody, what would you do if Deadpool was a guy who couldn't die? I fucking hate that YouTuber talk. So it's like, like Deadpool, the number one guy that can't die. What would you do if you had two of them that absolutely wanted to kill each other but couldn't out of hate? All right, if I was that shit, why not? So after a while, we started doing that, and then we got into single comics. Then from single comics, we'll never sell pops. We got, oh my God, the amount of pops we had gotten in.
We couldn't give those things away towards the end.
I hate pops.
And then it's like, we'll never do. We wanted Hot Toys, but it was just too expensive.
Yeah.
Then we got Hot Toys.
Yeah.
We'll never do vinyl. We did vinyl. I mean, at this point, I'm like, I'll never win the lottery. Fuck. And so that being said, it's like as things have grown, the hard part is that as providers for the community, you have to find ways to not only keep your lights on, and you not only have to find ways to get better collections and stuff, but I've seen more places where there is a place locally, and I know you're listening. I know you are. They charge double. Right now, they're offering us for Prismatic Evolutions $150 a box. No. Because they're going to charge $300 a box. And I was like, absolutely not. And it's just the idea of like, dude, that's cool, but I have to make money to keep this place going, because I'll be honest, I'm a single income on this entire shop. Everything you see the light dimly touches, I pay for.
Yep.
But it is not going to come at the cost of the
consumers.
Yeah. That's not fair to them.
It's not.
But when it comes to like a rarity, then you get people asking you, well, why the fuck is that video game or is that comic $400 when over here it says $1 on the cover? When it says this, now comes the really hard time of having to say, well, what is a collectible and a rarity? And then what is something that is at face value? The rarity is still the same. Prismatic Evolutions is still going to be hitting with a very low first print run.
Right.
I have Omega Man #3. I got like 12 of those. First appearance of Lobo. And now that fucking the rightful casting has been bestowed upon, what's his face?
Jason Momoa.
Momoa, yeah. Perfect casting.
Yeah.
But all of a sudden that book has gone from $80 to $200.
Yep.
And everyone's like, well,
demand.
Well, shit. Remember, what was it? About 2-3 years ago? You had all those Authority #1s.
I'll get the fuck out of here. I don't want to talk about that. So we got a tremendous amount of extra comics. And we could not put them anywhere.
Yeah.
So I always try to say, hey, man, if we have them, here's a post, come in with these days, one short box. If you can bring a short box and you can fit it in the short box, it's free.
Yeah,
so we did
awesome.
it, and we had we had this #1 book that was like $1.
Yeah.
And it was, we had cases of this shit.
It's not going anywhere.
It's not going anywhere.
Who's going to want to read this shit?
A week later, James Gunn goes, The Authority, #1, going up. $80 book immediately. And I was all, but they're all gone.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, hey, whoever got them, more power to you. You just made a
and that
fucking
was the
killing.
deal, and you made that call.
Right. Absolutely. I don't feel bad about it.
Yeah.
We just love it
Which is
because
good,
it's our fucking luck.
Yeah.
But now here comes the question. Where does the line of a $300 video game, when it came out at $40, a $2 comic book that now sits at $1,800, fucking 25 cents for Ultimate Spider-Man #4, first print, first appearance of Miles Morales, goes for $1,800 to $2,250, 9.8 to 10 in the right market, graded. Where is that line in your guys' opinion when people come and ask that?
Yeah.
Not because I'm asking, but like when people that ask in general how they gauge.
Well, the first thing I would say to that is there is no difference in those two things. Video games maturing and increasing in value is no different than a comic. toy collectible increasing
Yeah.
in value. But you would have to compare it to something that needs to be compared to. So the Pokemon, what did you say it was called? Shiny shit?
Yes. Perfect. Shiny shit EX.
Shiny shit EX, right?
Yeah.
Comes out.
Ooh, that might be a good
It goes up in value merely because it's being scalped.
Yeah.
That's the only reason it increased in value. Not because it's popular and not by traditional standards. It's popular through just false bullshit is probably the best thing I can say. False bullshit. It comes out, scalpers know, just like they know with shoes. Let's buy a ton of this stuff to resell.
Right.
That's the intention behind it. If a game that's been 20, 30 years old gains popularity because it suddenly was undiscovered being so good,
Right.
and increases in value just like a comic book would, that is maturing in value, and rightfully so, because it maybe didn't get a big print, right?
Right.
But Pokemon, fucking
Well, a good
sneakerheads-
example for a video game would be Fallout. Okay, look what happened when the TV show came out. All of a sudden, that resurgence for Fallout games
Yeah.
Vegas
jumped
and
right up to the top of
Yep.
retro game buying, you know,
Shut
and
up.
it's like, so it's all about when the time of the product comes out, the resurgence for it. What's the reason behind people wanting that game? And also, too, for like growing up in the 8-bit Nintendo world and the Sega Master System world, like getting those systems again, that's a big goal for me. Like I have an 8-bit Nintendo, but I want to get a Master System because I remember getting one for Christmas one year. That was like the best Christmas me and my brother ever had. And having that machine adds a nostalgia factor. But also there's a lot of games that I remember playing that were so hard to get. Like Afterburner and Hang On, they came already pre-loaded in the game system, so you didn't even need cartridge or the little memory cards that they had back then. You just turned the thing on and you had 2 games to play with. But then getting your hands on like Outrun and what's the other one that I'm trying to think of? What's the one with the dragon and you're like the hover
Space Harrier.
Space Harrier? Yeah. So like games like that, again, it's like yes,
dragon,
yes.
that's
He
it.
knew because
Yeah.
it's that era.
Yeah.
But like again, it's that
That
nostalgia factor and how many prints of that game came out at the time? How rare was it? How hard was it to find?
Yeah.
You know, I remember like what's the Legend of Zelda, the 8-bit games. Don't they have the gold cartridges?
Gold
and-
cartridge is so common.
Exactly. But at the time, it's like, you know, it was the thing to want to get your hands on. You know what I mean? So, yeah.
Real quick,
Yes.
you said it perfectly. You both said it perfectly. Where it's the nostalgia of things that age well. We talked about it at the very beginning of the podcast, where what ages well, what doesn't age well. And it's funny how things come full circle because it's the same thing with comics. I think for me, I collect a lot of Golden Age stuff if I can, because you're not going to get back a 100-year-old book.
No
You know,
way.
like that at that point, you in the comic world, it's like you don't fucking read it. I don't fuck guys who put it in cases. I'm trying to smell the pages. I'm all remind me that you never to let you on my wife. But like they get very specific, and I'm like I love reading it, and I do genuinely appreciate it. But at some point, I have to look at like there's a small graphic novel that is from Italy that they talk about this guy how he mourns his daughter and why he loves baseball. And so he says, you know, it's him and his son playing baseball, and it shows them throwing the ball and then the kid catching it. And then, you know, when the kid's born, he's going to be the best baseball player ever. Then the kid gets his first jersey. The kid lives to be about 5, and then the kid dies of a sickness. But during the sickness, they show every month of them enjoying baseball. Then he dies. Well, the jersey still has the kid's scent. So over the years, people are like, why do you always look at that golden baseball, man? As the years go on, people kind of wonder why he's the weird guy who never speaks. He had the jersey folded a bunch of times and then encased in the baseball. Because at some point he goes, it stopped smelling like him. I have to remind myself that he is still here.
Yeah.
And whatever is there, that's between me and him to talk. So they mistook his silence for him being incognate versus him just being like, I'm really invested in my son. And that's not for you to understand. That's for me. That's a great fucking story.
Yeah.
But the idea of it is like where you look at aging of certain stories, aging of time, aging of games. It sucks, but I think that there has to be preservation.
For sure.
Yeah,
Definitely has to be preservation.
Yeah, if you don't, you're going to lose it. Like the number one thing I've said, I've always been looking for, can never fucking find it, the original Digivice.
Yeah.
I'm not a Pokemon guy. I'm a Digimon guy. And you cannot find those anywhere because everyone was like, Digimon, ew. And just throw it out the window. After enough time, rarity, like you said, goes up because some things age well, some things are just preservation, what you have. Part of collecting and someone who really loves what they do, from just experience, I guess, is like the level of devotion to an item is never about the piety of just holding it from someone. Like, I am not going to show you guys, like, look at this, but don't you touch it.
Yes,
Sometimes when you're around another collector, like, dude, isn't this super cool? Wouldn't you like this?
Yes.
Wouldn't you want to try this? And I feel like that's where we're very lucky because the generation before us threw away a lot of shit that were like, if it's not for shoes, if it's not for cooking or work or anything else,
It's gone.
it's gone. It's not necessary. What do you think is the number one thing in the shop that you guys see people pass up on that they probably should look at more?
Ooh, good question.
And that goes for you too, toy wise.
Yeah.
I mean, right now, I think it's been like the last, I'd say about 10 years, the licensing games, all the licensing games are going up, because it's licensed, I mean, look at like Def Jam, Fight for New York,
Oh,
and things
yeah.
like that. You'll never, I mean, if we ever get that type of game again, it's going to cost $30 million just for the music. You know what I mean? So you're
That's
never going to
true.
get that
Fuck.
type of game again. Even just like little games like Scooby-Doo games and things like that. Oh, that's licensed. Even if it's a $5 game, it goes up. It goes up to 8. It goes up to 12. And it's a lot of people gloss over those because they're just like, oh, it's a Scooby-Doo. Well, it's like that's actually a really good platformer, or it's
Well,
a really
shit.
fun this.
Do you guys remember the CDs that used to come in the PlayStation magazine?
Oh yeah.
And then
Underground.
they started doing that. Well, then other companies started getting involved with that. Remember, like Mountain Dew and Pepsi would put out their own discs that you
that's
can
right,
get,
that's
and then
right. Yep.
it's only Pepsi Man, but you can only play that game if you got it from that particular 12 pack or 24 pack or whatever promotion thing that they were going for.
Yeah.
Now trying to find those things is like, good luck, dude.
Yeah.
But when you do, you're gonna pay for it. Same thing. Like I remember the dot from the 7-Up was like a
Spot,
thing back in the
yeah.
day,
Spot.
and I remember that they had a Nintendo game for that, dude. And
Yeah.
it's like, how did a spot for the
It's on
7-Up
the Master
mascot?
System too.
Yeah. It's like that is nuts to me. But in trying to find that now, just as for like, I just want to have that to showcase. Forget it, dude. That's like $300 cartridge right there, if you can find it.
What do you think people are snoozing on?
I have a different perspective, mainly because being the shop owner and the one who curates a lot of what comes in, and I'm always trying to introduce new things to people because I want them to become more engaged with what we have, not just have it to say I have it. You said earlier, it's like, look what I have. Isn't this cool? Isn't like covet this?
Yeah.
But the question I posed earlier is like, tell me the last game you completed. Tell me the last game you played. And a lot of those people, these collectors nowadays, they can't answer that fucking simple ass question. They buy to buy, they don't buy to enjoy. Maybe the enjoyment is there in owning the product, and they say, well, I'll get to it eventually. Tomorrow's not promised to nobody.
Yeah.
I believe that you should take the time while it's given to you, because opportunities don't always come up. Your opportunity is now to strike and enjoy. So if I had to pick one thing right now I think people are sleeping on in the shop, I would probably say it has to do with like our anime manga section. We have a lot of vintage anime DVDs and VHS.
And figures.
I've been meaning to go up there and
Yeah.
look at some of these
So-
because Papa needs some stuff to draw from.
So I will tell you this. In Japan, it is common practice for stores to purchase pre-owned Japanese anime, manga, collectible goods. They do it frequently, just like a video game store would. Out here, it is not common practice. Most people, it's like, well, how do you even price that stuff? Well, you just got to kind of trial and error until you figure it out. And I have learned how to price that stuff fairly. I will have people who purchase used manga from like recycled bookstores or used books, whatever bookstore,
Right.
and they're like, your prices are really good, and it's like, I'm not here to make a ton. I'm here to get new members. And if you buy a few, we'll see certain people come back. Like we have one customer, Riley, right? Riley comes in every week, and he always spends every single time, maybe $80 to $100. He buys new pre-owned manga, pre-owned DVDs. He's like, have you watched this one? What can you tell me about this? And I usually can tell most people just about anything, you know, because I've experienced it. I was like, if you haven't watched this, you need to check this out. I had a girl come in a couple weeks ago, and she was like, oh, I really love Cowboy Bebop, and I really love Trigun. I was like, what about Space Adventure Cobra? She was like, well, what's that?
Oh, yeah.
I was like, the reason Cowboy Bebop and Trigun exist is because they copied Space Adventure like Cobra's everything. And she's like, I was like, the jazz music, the kind of buffoonery but badass, like the lone cowboy in space, wanted, the most wanted man in the galaxy, that's all in Cobra.
Yeah.
And you would think I just described Cowboy Bebop and Trigun.
Well, it's like Redline. Look at Redline. That was out for a long time. There's so much, like even now having to teach like the art history of the backing of a lot of this stuff, and how most of what we see, like I have one right here in my library. Ooh, look at this shit. So, this came out. Let me read this. Franz, the sorcerer, the sorcerer's apprentice.
Franz.
Is always meddling, and meddling gets him into one terrible fix after another. But his greatest, most terrifying fix of all comes when he decides to try out one of his master's magic spells. The trouble is, he cannot remember how to stop it. What an asshole. This classic story makes thrilling reading for all boys and girls, meddlesome or otherwise. Tell me who the fuck that is. That's fucking Harry Potter. The kid even has glasses in the goddamn book.
What the hell?
Yeah, that's years before Harry Potter.
HP.
Yeah.
That is.
Well, that's not something I can speak on because I don't read.
Oh. Okay. That's hey, I'm a what's this? He's a Tahimo. Goddamn it, stop!
Today, Junior.
But the thing is like having to teach that. I think that's where people gravitate towards our establishments. Is there's a passion of like what you are is you're a librarian. Mm-hmm. You're a librarian for a type of media that people enjoy, and if they can't understand where something comes from, you don't really appreciate where it's going to go. The number one thing that I think I hear the most, we talked about on the last pod, where people are like, God, fucking Ghibli is just, it's just not where it's at. And
Right.
to be honest, I'm not a big fan of all their movies. I love the artwork, but they're not meant for me. They're meant for a specific demographic. That does not go into my bias of how I speak about it to somebody that is into that specific type of endeavor, right?
Yeah.
And with the used market, I think what makes you guys special on top of us, as well as many other,
Yeah, it's special when we're on top of you guys.
is hey, let's go. That's a really, that's definitely a fucking concave floor. Good lord, it fucking looks like a Super Saiyan and fucking attacked. His hair's not going up. On the chicken's back of his neck. But so the thing is, like, look at Rasputin's, or now known in Modesto as the the Mad Monk is what they're called now.
Oh my god.
Yeah,
Wow.
That's still there. If you go off the 99, actually, that's the other place I wanted to tell you guys about, which I'll tell you later. But there is a really big game store out there that is interesting because everything's like priced super low, but they're cards and they are video games. And so I went to go check it out and was like, oh, cool stuff for the museum.
It's not called Black Crow, is it?
No, Utopia. It's 7 guys who went into a old Safeway,
Yep.
rented out the entire thing,
No way.
and it's just $2 fucking SD games, $1 fucking Game Boy games. Cheap as fuck, dude. I mean, everything. Here's the thing, though. The worst customer service I've ever fucking had in my life. I walked in that place, and I fucking hated it. And if anybody knows them and they're going to show them this, you're an asshole. All 7 of you. I went up there and I go to every shop that I possibly can and ask for cards. That's how we started talking. Yeah. Because if I like the place, I'm going to share it with the society and be like, hey man, go shop over there, fucking check it out. And they had a lot of, their TCG section is as long as our shop. It is huge. And they have a bunch of stuff to look from, but they're one of our friends and our brother-in-law were talking to us and said, dude, you gotta fucking, if you like this place, you gotta check out the Mad Monk. And I was like, what? So yeah, the Mad Monk, man. There's a bunch of stuff. I walk in, I was all, and you can smell the mold. I'm all, this is Rasputin's. And I look at the fucking thing, and it's literally Rasputin's, and they just crossed out Rasputin's and wrote in marker the Mad Monk.
That's awesome.
That's actually pretty dope.
That's
That's
awesome.
pretty dope.
That's smart
It's awesome.
marketing.
I like
but
that.
but
I love
it is huge. I'm talking they must have taken over like old Big Lots or something. It's big. But I mean, I found every punk, ska, second, third wave, psychobilly, rockabilly CDs, $2-3.
Yeah.
I found old albums for $0.25 that I got everywhere else is $12.
Yeah.
But how those guys started, for anyone that doesn't know what Rasputin's is, what was Rasputin's back
It's like an old recycled records kind of shop kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
well, explain it to the younger crowd like Rodrigo and them.
Oh,
they're babies.
It's where you go to get those round, circular, flat, thin objects.
You sell your old collections, and these guys buy them in bulk, and then they resell you
Right,
stuff.
yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
And so these guys, they are a really good example of. There's always somebody out there that's like, hey man, I really want manga. Cool, but what age, what time? Oh, I can't find number 4, and you guys happen to have number 4. Yeah, those are the best places to go.
Yeah, we also get cool hentai collectibles too, because it's nothing I push.
Edwin's
Like already at the front door.
Edwin and me.
Come on in, Edwin.
That's not my hand. That's not my hand knocking.
Answer, damn it. Edwin, no! Edwin, no!
That's a really thick knock you got there.
It's kind of like a thud, dull thud.
I can, why do I know it's underhand?
Coming from very low on the ground.
We'll give him his own couch.
Yeah, exactly. He fucking
No,
His own chair.
So
Yeah,
so-
you look like Kevin Bacon, and he looks like the worm from Tremors. Fucking not you, no, not you. I mean, fucking Edwin. Oh god,
That's awesome.
Why is it splitting?
So, to kind of touch base on what I was saying earlier about the whole Japanese concept is to have a variety of things. You have to kind of ingratiate yourself within the product in order to kind of, let the consumer know, hey, what's good, too, so we can also understand ourselves, like what to buy, what's worth our time, what's worth putting on our shelves. And right now, we're still probably, I would say, like the first year into taking in manga and collectibles, and it's really grown. And the thing that we hear, the most feedback we hear consistently, is that this is cool. I didn't know they even had figures for this, or when is this from? I was like, oh, that's from the late 90s. That's cool. You guys have stuff like that. I don't see this anywhere. Exactly. Everybody right now is not on that, and I kind of got laughed at a long time ago by other stores for the fact that I was stepping outside of gaming and doing anime and manga to the point where it's like, are you even a game store anymore? I was like, you know what? I got my own path to follow.
That's
and
right.
It just is what it is. And we have one of the largest stores in the Bay Area. I think only probably second, or if not on par with Game Shop downstairs. I don't know Anthony's exact square footage. But between him and I, we're the 2 largest video game stores in the entire Bay, right? As far as rent goes, I probably pay more than a few stores put together in rent just because of where I'm at in Campbell. But it takes a lot to run that store, and I don't pass those costs on to the consumers. It's all about volume based. We're a high volume trade store. We sell high volume. Volume is what we do. That's why we run an online website. That's why we can post a video on Instagram. Charlie stayed up until midnight the other night. I had to tell him to stop working, and he started like 10 a.m. He worked for 14 hours, processing just trade after trade after. He's like, well, we got to get these done. And right now, Trung is out. Trung's been sick for feels like years.
It does.
Damn.
And Charlie stayed up until midnight processing all this stuff, and he finished like 95% of it. And then we took a nice big video, posted it, and people just hit the website right away. Boom, 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 boom. This is all there.
And that was fun to see.
It was really fun to see because I think we're probably having the most success. The online web shop is literally becoming like on par with the store as far as like bringing in double the income, which is helping us.
By far, it's the best employee right now.
It is the best employee. It's working all the time, even on Wednesdays and Thursdays, as we've talked about being closed. And this is a lot to do with your influence, X, is that you have to have this balance to take time off for yourself, or else if you pour all this into one thing, then this is going to be empty. You have to have a balance of pouring back and forth. And so we take Wednesdays, Thursdays. When is an actual day off for us? We don't do shit. We just lay about, have fun. And then Thursdays would typically be a day that we're learning editing on our new iMac and learning the computer. I'm not a techie person. I'm not a computer guy at all. So
Me either.
this is a struggle for me, but we're learning it. And it's all for the greater good to have
Absolutely.
a good YouTube channel, you know, to eventually to fall into, and just to continue to provide more for the customers out there. Because there's not many stores that are going to do everything we do. A lot of stores just open up, sell games, close, that's it, done.
Yeah.
They don't do any more. Some might do tournaments, some might have card meetups, some might do this. But who has an actual like dedicated arcade?
Mm-hmm.
Who has an actual interactive game lounge? Who does big game swap events quarterly? Who's working on a convention for the Bay Area? Like, that's a lot of what Retrofix does. That's what kind of sets us on our, not to say that we're better, it just makes us different from what
Right.
everybody else does, because we feel like we can tackle these big things.
Well, you guys are setting a standard, actually. When you think
We're-
about it, you're setting a high bar for everybody to start following, because you guys have you've obviously see what the market needs. You've identified where you can make your mark, and every time you jump into it, like just from knowing you for a short amount of time, I mean, I've known you for a longer, but the short amount of time of knowing you as a business person, you're making all the right decisions, even when you're like, I don't know if I should. You still, well, if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out.
Yeah.
I'll find some other way
Yep.
to make it work, or I'll just let it go.
And
So
I've never been scared to try, and I'm not scared to fail.
you ain't scared.
I'm not. I'm
To talk about the store a bit more, I think this is like the turning another page of its chapter.
Yeah.
And I fully believe it, and I want, you know, we all, everyone that's even had a finger into the store wants the store to succeed and be
Absolutely.
be the next thing that it is going to be in its evolution. But it is. I mean, it's everything that has been changing is it's shedding its own, and it's evolving into something else. And to watch it is awesome. To be a part of it is even better.
Absolutely.
You know.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I spent this Monday going to Folsom, California. I went all the way up.
You should have stopped by Ryan's.
Who?
Fire and Ice Games. Folsom and Roseville are like right next to each other.
Oh, I feel like Star-Lord. Who?
No.
No.
Star-Lord, man.
No, I went up there because I only had a little bit of time, and Mike, that was the drum instructor I had spoken to you about.
Yeah.
He graciously gave me a good hour of his day, and it ended up being like 4 or 5 hours, which was very nice. But he was like, "Hey man, if you can come up, we're just gonna sit down. We're gonna talk, unload what you got to talk to me about. Let's process it together, and I got to get back to work." And I was like, "Sure." So we sat there, and a big thing that we talked about. Sorry, my nose is a little stuffy. We were kind of going back and forth about 3 big things of like how to move forward with business and self. And, you know, we kind of went around the thing of like, you know, where were you before money? Where were you with money? And where are you going to be without money? Mm-hmm. And ironically, we said the same thing, like we would be doing this no matter what, because I've had many years with no money that I was still producing this. Not at the caliber, not the equipment, not the studio or the
Right.
said people at table, but it could have happened on any level if I wanted it to, as long as I worked for it. And he asked me like point blank, he goes, what does happy look like to you? And he goes, I want you to think about exactly what a happy scenario of you going and being just completely free of any bullshit that you can control. And I told him, and he goes, cool, so how close are you to that, or how far from you are that? And I mentioned it, and he goes, that sounds pretty goddamn close to me. Just fix these things or work on these. Mm-hmm. And nothing specific, but it was a really good indication of where, you know, the world moves in its own pace, but some of us have to work in certain ways. So as an instructor, he taught me where, you know, the way he used to do certain things, it was like, okay, I'll do this month, that month, this. And then he goes, now, he goes, I have 3 months to get everything done for the year. And when I get that done, then I have this time to be on the road. And then it allots me the rest of the year to do what I need to do for me as a person to prep for the next year. If I don't have that, I don't have peace, because you have your home life, you have your personal endeavors, and you have your actual self. And one of the best lessons he was talking about as a drummer, I feel as a musician for sure, but I feel more as an artist and a instructor, is he goes, cool, I spend 99.9% of my day teaching you how to be better at drums. So how do I figure out the time for me to actually get better at drums for me? How do I get back to being a student? And do I have enough time to do that? And where is that discipline? I think with the time off thing, it's interesting because for me, when I had spoken to you guys about having to make that mandatory time, it feels better. And you realize that out of the entire month, if I were to tell both of you guys, or even all three of you in general, if I were to go to you, and you, and I were to say, you have to take 1 week off a month, you would be like, you're fucking out of your mind. 1 week out of your goddamn month? I can't afford that.
Okay.
Quarter of the time.
Quarter of the time. That's ridiculous. But if you take those 2 days off, that's a week out of the month you're taking off. So when I was young, I would look at people that took weekends off, and I'd be like, what a fucking waste. That's an entire week you're letting go of. But to be honest, what did I do with that time to now where I'm older? I don't know how to enjoy that week. Mm-hmm. And slowly over the years, it has evolved to where I consume more than I give. Because when I was younger, I would be like, oh my God, everything, it's just knowledge. It's this. I got to read. I got to learn. I got to paint. I got to draw. Now I actually give more than I consume. And at some point, that's a nice balance too. But as business owners, as artists, as individuals, collectors, the whole shebang, where are we actually finding that balance when we switch on and off, right? The one day where you don't do anything at all is so necessary for your peace of mind. Mike and I were talking about, do you guys know what PMA stands for?
Nope.
Punch my
Punch my asshole. All you hear is the fucking knock of Edwin, no! The door! Oh, door! Oh, door!
That's a euphemism.
Oh, he does this every time. You're supposed to be at work. How'd you get here so quick? And
It's like the rest of me show up in 5 minutes.
that's on discount. So it's from the band Bad Brains, and PMA legitimately stands for Positive Mental Attitude. And while Mike and I were talking about that, he goes, yeah, dude, people are going to hate, people are going to have these opinions about your business, about your plan, but what they really have a problem with, and he goes, I know this sounds really kitschy, but people hate to see you happy through struggle.
Definitely.
Yeah.
When you are doing something and you're going to the same thing, Preston and I were talking about this for something else. One of my clients and a good friend, he's like, man, when you grow up, you notice these things about certain things and people. And I said, yeah, man, well, here's the thing. Do you understand change?
Oh, yeah.
Do you understand change?
Mm-hmm.
Do you understand growth?
Yep.
Absolutely.
I think all three of you do. Absolutely.
Yeah.
But when people don't understand the word growth, they only understand change. They can't understand why your change looks better than their change.
Right.
So therefore, it becomes bitter, bitter
Jealousy
spirits.
or envy.
So now you have to think about, well, let's say I have a positive mental attitude. Every day is going to be good. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. We're going to do all these things. And then someone goes, yeah, Rudy, that's gay. Why would he say that? Oh, that's cool, man. That's a really nice idea you have. I wouldn't do it. Well, the person wouldn't fucking steer me wrong, would they? I mean, they're my friend, but yeah. Well, you know what? Maybe they're looking out for me. And now it's not backpedaling, but it's definitely soldier role. Oh, I think this is probably one of the coolest ideas ever. Is it though? Do you think that's a good idea? Mm. Well, they would never fucking want me not to succeed. So Mike goes, how do you go through that? And it's a POM. You cannot have you can't have positive mental attitude without peace of mind.
True.
If you don't have peace of mind, where it's like, that's kind of whack. Thank you for your opinion, man. I appreciate that, but I'm gonna go do me. I don't know if I would do that. Well, then don't, man. But you know what? What would you do better? Well, I mean, probably this and that. Okay, cool. Thank you for the suggestion. I think this is a pretty cool idea. Well, I don't know is it a cool idea? I think it is. And if it doesn't work, fuck it. Try something else. Again, no fear of failure.
Right.
And he goes, you cannot achieve positive mental attitude if you don't have peace of mind. And when I shared that with him, he was like, well, there you go. I think you have a positive mental attitude, even though you're always angry. I go, thank you. And he goes, I think you have a good sense of peace of mind. The problem is you just don't know what cup you're balancing first, because you don't know where your forever happy is.
And that's hard to see in the moments.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's hard to see in the moments.
Yeah.
And I think what you're saying, that I definitely 100% timing. Timing on that, when you said that's an awesome idea, and it's timing where you're at saying I wouldn't do it. That's timing in my life, timing in your life, and that's everywhere around, and timing like on the store, like I talk about turning the chapter. It's just timing, and it's where we're at. We're all at different places, we're going to the same place, but every one of our clocks is running at a different speed.
Right.
Absolutely.
And no matter if we have the same goal, I might not get there until 5-10 years after you guys get there. But it's my time, and it's how can I make my peace of mind with that. Even though I seen you succeed in this, I want that, because it gives me something to chase after, and I know that you're going to extend your hand back and say, come on, and pull me along. So when I'm ahead, I'm going to do the exact same thing. Not everybody's like that.
It's also an interesting conversation, because I've known his mentor for years. I visually know what he looks like, and I thought whenever he would speak about this guy, I was like, oh, it's the drum guy from Oakland, your jazz master. And he was like, no, it's not him. He brings up this other guy, doesn't say his name, but he goes, yeah, dude, he's a billionaire. And I was all, huh. And I was like, really? And I really just sat back and listened to him talk about it. He goes, yeah, man, when I did these endeavors and I did this and I did that, because my question was like, where do you go from growth? Like as a business, we understand, and I mean everybody at the table, we understand that like more people would be great, but you can't quality control who comes through the door anymore, right, and what your business stands for. So I can afford, hopefully in the next few years, a building 5 times bigger than this, 2 stories, and it would feed everybody. And I could have one of the best places in the entire West Coast, if not the goddamn country. Problem is can you control that in a healthy way, where it's not about you do what I say, but more of like, hey man, there's a standard here. Bigger necessarily isn't always better, but we understand what it's like to struggle with less.
Yeah.
So he starts saying about how, well, when he started his Forever business and kind of what he did for himself to become the predecessor of what a lot of people followed, he was like, well, maybe I need to borrow $1 million. And the billionaire goes, I can give it to you cash. And he goes, well, really? He goes, but what would you do with the $1 million? I don't know, probably just invest and do this and that. He goes, if I give you $1 million, then now you owe that money, and now I own a part of your company. That's cool. But the problem is you don't really need to. You're starting off debt free. You're starting off in an endeavor that you're already 25 years ahead where most people are. If you need a new camera, save for it. If you can do this, save for it. If you can do that, he goes, if you are as great as you are where you're starting without this shit, then I want to see where you go with 1 piece, then 2 piece, then 3. The journey of
KFC. What'd you order? Oh, X, what are you doing back?
Hey guys.
Sorry,
Yeah.
my ADHD brain just had to get that.
Yeah, what's the PMO mean or POM mean? I'm pieces of molasses and chicken. But the thing that he said was like, as you're building as an individual, he goes, you don't like the journey of 1,000 miles starts with 1 step, right? So you can't really understand how to appreciate what makes you the best version of you if everything's given to you at once.
Yep.
You can't. And we wish it could be that way, but we would still have bad relationships, not people, with individuals if being like, well, I can just pay it away. Mm-hmm. We'd have too much of this or too little of that. And so he says, when you're trying to build into something, anything, you can be an artist, you can be a goddamn electrician, you can be a video game guy, you can be a toy guy, you could be the #1 best fucking stitcher, sewer, cosplayer in the world. We have very many people who cosplay in our society, like Cynthia and all those guys.
Yeah.
You could have everything you ever wanted, but can you actually legitimately appreciate what it is and the people you struggled with on the way up? So he was like, I honestly believe anybody that is going to have a good mental attitude and the peace of mind understands how to look at something and say, That is what is rich to me. That is what I fucking earned. Because I'll tell you right now, dude, all that glitters and gold is definitely not what I thought it was 10 years ago. What I thought success was is completely fucking way too shiny for me compared to what I think it is now. And like you said, being able to provide for the community and not run them over the coals. Some people, and this is where you guys are a really good example to ours, because a lot of people will shit on us because they're like, well, you got a tattoo shop attached to you guys, make your money as a tattoo place. And I feel like Gus, the director in
Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back. Yeah,
Good Will Hunting. He's also, are we?
We're gonna shoot this scene.
Are we going, Gus? And he's, oh Jesus, Ben. I said I'm busy, and he's counting the $100 bills. That's how I feel. Like, well, yeah, you guys would never survive if you weren't a tattoo shop. Well, that's really sad. But are you selling your store? And so, but honestly, it's like it doesn't matter if we had a tattoo shop or not, dude. That side. And you guys understand with square footage, that costs a lot of money. And it doesn't matter how good or how nice or how great you are at something, you still have to provide. It doesn't matter how much product you have, you still have to be able to go somewhere and appreciate it. Are you guys familiar with Texas at all?
Texas?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go. Buc-ee's.
Oh, yeah.
Bussies.
The Bussies.
Bussy.
The Bussies.
Bussy.
There is no fucking place here, convenience store-wise, that will ever compare to a goddamn Bussies.
Nope.
Not even Love's?
No.
Well, no. Well,
No.
I love Love's.
Brisket on the board.
Yeah,
Fucking fresh fudge. I mean, even their crackheads are fucking nicer than ours. I mean, Jesus Christ! At least they wash my windows. But the
Fudge?
huh?
With fudge.
You fucking Edwin. That's too much, guys. Just walk in here. God damn it!
There's an automatic door.
Yeah, exactly. The fucking.
I got caught last time.
But I mean, there's nothing that compares to that, and so it's hard because you look at things from another world. One of the world's biggest comic book shops, collectible shops, video game shops, book shops in the entire fucking world. And good for them. They're a family that became a corporation, and that's where they're at. I don't want to be them. I don't want to be a Universal City Walk. That's some pretty cool money, but that's also a lot of money, time, and stress. And someone being like, "Oh, that what's a video game that's really expensive right now?"
I don't know. Just expensive game A.
Yeah, expensive game A. Yeah. But because
I don't play video games.
Yeah. And we got it right there. All right. But expensive game A, like you said, because of the way it's aged, the way that it has matured, and the way that it's rare, you understand why that's that price. And some asshole comes in, no PMA, no POM, and immediately goes, "Huh, I wouldn't spend that kind of money. This place is a fucking ripoff," and then leaves you a bad review. You've done everything in your life to be the right person, and that wrong person is there. Sometimes grace comes in the form of like almost like conservation, right? Like sometimes grace comes in the form of just less is more, because I don't need to be the best choice in the area. I don't need to be the Buc-ee's. I'm cool with being the Loves. I'm cool with being the place where like
Loves.
on the East Coast, the Wawa's. Fucking love me a Wawa's, dude. An open refrigerator. They talk about like, fuck it, I can't pay these goddamn high price bills, and they have an open refrigerator, no door, with all their creams, but their goddamn coffee's always on point. It's cheap, and their sandwiches aren't that bad. And it's like, all right, cool, but it's a small thing that I feel that if that was in my neighborhood, that's my place.
Yeah.
I'd rather be the local choice to the local people than to be a national brand, because I can't control the way that I can put my effort into something when somebody's going to tear it down because they can't see your happiness.
Right.
They're always going to find something. So
and I'm sure we all deal with that person too.
Oh yeah.
Because I see them.
I work with 3 of them. Christopher. With that being said, what do you think is the thing that people need to be looking out for in the foreseeable future next year coming from Retrofix?
Oh, well, that's actually kind of funny because I get messages a lot about what's the next thing we're working on.
One Piece.
One Piece. I'll take a 4-piece to go. So the next big thing, and again, Charlie and I, we spend a lot of time in the shop. We workshop a lot of things. I would say the next two biggest things that are coming is one, a YouTube channel that's going to start off in its infancy, and it's going to be fun. It's going to harken back to like those old school retro gaming videos, but it's going to have a lot of heart involved in it. That's going to, I think Charlie said, within 1 year, there's no reason we can't hit 10,000 subscribers.
Yeah.
And I believe that. The other thing is TCG space, creating a space where people can play. And just as X said, like, I don't want to sell these things. I don't want to do these things like everyone else. I'm trying to be different. I get it. And at the end of the day, you got to do what the consumer want. I'm building a store for everybody, not for myself. And just to recaption, I do actually play video games. I do. I don't play.
Now the truth comes out.
Yeah, I don't play TCG. I'm not against playing TCG. It's just that I never have, and it's probably because I never had the space. And it's funny now because as an adult Gen Xer, I never thought that at one point in time in my life I would own a game store, let alone a popular one. And, you know, I was like, you know what? We can really create whatever we want, honestly.
Absolutely.
And so just choosing, trying new ideas, throwing them at the wall and seeing what sticks is fun. Charlie and I, we talk about, like, what he had, like a manga corner. People kind of like have a cafe-style vibe and hang out. What if we had, you know, cosplay mates working on the weekends to help you with the arcade machines and stuff like that and teach you how to play? You know, what if we did a lot of things? And we're working on an 18-plus hentai event right now with VTubers. I'm dead ass serious.
Yeah.
People
He's laughing because of Edwin, not because you're.
No, it's just we're just doing it. People are like, that's wild that you would do such a thing. Like, nobody's doing that kind of thing in a game store. Well, why not?
Yeah.
Right now, I have 5 different commissions from 5 different artists working on art for the next waifu character we're going to release this summer, because I've always had a long-term plan for that. The next batch of stickers, people have been wanting, like, you need to sell stickers, you need to sell you know, little pins again and stuff like that.
What the fuck are you looking at me for?
I've been saying it for years.
No, there's 3 of us that have been doing that already. We already have 20 in the fucking thing.
Where?
It's released next year. Let the boy talk.
I got one guy working on our shirt design, and I got a couple people working on the 18-plus stuff. I literally have 5 artists working on different things right now from all different facets of what we do. The thing about the Retrofix, it's never going to stop evolving.
Yeah,
That's true.
But Retrofix will have its final moments. And going back to what we said at the beginning, the value of a moment. Retrofix will eventually come to an end, and that'll be it for that. But that will not be where the story ends. It'll just be where the Retrofix stories end, and the evolution of what's to come for the future that I've had planned out for the last 5 years is going to start to take shape. Why do you do all these events? Why do you carry the things that you do? Where are you going with this? Why do you keep evolving and changing? Because I know where my story's going. And so, yeah, I love the fact that we are not your average game store. I like when people walk in and they stop at the doorway and they just kind of like look back. The look on their face is like, where the hell am I? I hear the music is vibing, the bright lights, the colors, the ambiance. It's clean, it's organized, it's big. There's a game lounge, there's an arcade over there. Not like a game store that has 1 or 2 machines. Like, you're talking like a dozen big ass machines. Like, how do you afford this stuff? I was like, oh, that's the secret. I didn't.
Joke's on you, asshole. It's all stolen.
I am from Stockton.
Let's go, baby.
But the point is that we always change, and we originally changed our layout here to commemorate our 5th anniversary. We did a whole story where I went over the last 5 years, and I showed a bunch of memories of how we started very, very humbly, very small in a corner, and grew all the interactions, all the customers. And I said, you'll never know the value of a moment, because I was putting little words on each picture. It was like 25 pictures. And one photo shows, it was the next to last photo showed a photo of the shop. It says, you'll never know the value of a moment. And then the next slide, it was empty. It was gone until it's gone.
Right.
And everybody panicked. Everybody thought, what the hell? You closed? Are you serious?
Oh, shit.
They freaked out. And so I had to go online to do damage control. That's not what I was trying to convey.
Right.
I love wrestling, so I love the storytelling, the panache of it. So I had to go on and put it like, we're not gone. We're just doing what we always do. And that's become better for you. And then we did a store reveal later that night when we relaunched at like 5
that's
p.m.
right.
and people came in. Tyler and his mom, Claire, were the very first ones before anyone because they're such good, loyal customers. We let them in early. And everyone who walked in, their eyes just, I can't believe this is the same place.
And then you smashed a chair over Tyler's mom. Run! Out on the side of the ring!
She's a sweetheart. I would never do such a...
This is a death cage.
She's such a sweetheart.
Yeah, the only way to get 50% off is with your life. That's cool, though, man. I mean, I get that, too, because for us, when we started this, like, I know if we stay in this building, if we expand, I know what we're going with, how big we're going. We already have, because we have a year 1 book, year 2 book, year 3 book, but I will release them at every 5 years because I take photos up the ass, and showing like society members who they are and why they matter, and at the capacity that you do, same thing that you guys do with your customers it's interesting, but it's just you're letting me do what I already do. You're letting us do what we would already do anyway. On a professional level, why wouldn't I want to give that back to the community? Why wouldn't you want to see much more of a place to thrive and grow? I mean, when we were like the Gundam Club,
how it started. It was just Gundam Club and Card Night were 2 separate nights. They were back-to-back events, and I remember the first time we did it. It was like maybe 5 or 6 of us for Gundam Night, and then 3 or 4 for Card Night. But then eventually it started to blew up into what it became. And one of the things I think I wanted to say about both of you guys is I think that the main reason why you both continue to see success in the way that you do is because of the authenticity that you guys bring to the game. That's something that's rare to find. Like, people can have drive, people can have energy to be able to do it, but the authenticity behind it, the passion, all of that really comes through with everything that you guys do and how you approach it. And even when you do things that don't really work out right away, like when Gundam Club didn't really work out and Card Night was kind of so, you just reinvented it. Same thing for you. Whatever you had to do to reinvent the store, that brought that wow factor back. You never lost your clients. If anything, you brought more in because they got to see another authentic side of yourselves that you're just be able to display, and they get to feel accepted. And I think that that's the other part of why places like Retrofix and Sacred 8 will be successful, is because when you have that community that comes in, they too can be their authentic self. And when they're not, they get called out on it, and obviously don't get to be a part of the fun anymore. But
yeah, I mean, also too, it's who you invest in. Like a lot of people don't even realize how many shows we have. I mean, we have them on the hard drives for sure, but we also have the older stuff on YouTube. We were doing this shit out of a bedroom, with just an iPhone and a good mic. These lights I've had for 10 years, and you can see the discoloration in them for how many years I've used them. And shit, these things were like $900 back then. You can get a whole set of 5 for like $100. I mean, a lot of the stuff that we've done prior to the actual location was just being around people who knew how to have fun. Mm-hmm. And then, we got better equipment, and then, we did the shows, and then we did the skits, and then, we have the Doug Dimmadome one. Come on down to Sacred 8. You like big books, small books? Fuck, you can't even read. Come on down. Our loss is your gain. And then we have the infomercials. Yeah. We did Dadpool
on Arrival.
Dadpool on Arrival.
I love that commercial.
Which is funny because nobody ever watches those.
Because you should put it up. Just put up what's well. I loved it.
The funny thing is
my favorite part is when I'm looking at the toys and he's talking about the Captain Muggins. He's like, "Ooh, he sounds tall and handsome," and you're like, "Sure." Don't worry, boy. When you come in,
look at that. Is this that thing with the tentacles I read about? Yeah. The manga section is a place where we go.
Indeed.
Yeah, with these knees.
It's a great. You have to see that commercial. It's so much fun.
But it's those things of when we did that. I did not have a boom mic with us that day. Edward and Nelson, 2 of the original Society members for this one, because the original Society members are from the East Coast, because we started on Facebook. So we have our patches and our cards coming out next year, finally, after years of talking about it. But it's like the Justice League. You get a 001, 003, 004,
Right.
and
That's
you have
cool.
your nickname. But each one, same thing with the factions.
Oh, yeah.
However many come in for the Gundam Club, you know, when we were doing the layouts for the paper mache for the Gundam seats,
Right.
how you were supposed to be on the beach, and
Yes.
I mean, we have all the stuff that's there. The hard part about it is you have to realize, and not you guys, but like the people listening. The hard part is that when people are like, well, fuck, how come it's not as consistent or not as much? It's like, you got to realize, man, like there's only one person who can film this, write it, edit it, put it together, get the people together, and then know that you have the right people behind you to create the content.
Right.
You may have an idea, I may have an idea, but I can only do so much. So on Dadpool on Arrival, I took our shotgun mic and we
duct taped it.
duct taped
you
it
duct taped that.
with the Zoom.
Right.
And then we put that on Edward.
Right.
And then Nelson was helping with like one of the discs for the light bending, and literally they're just walking around following his ass.
Right.
And I have the camera, and I mean they've never done this in their life. And at the very end, when you're seeing everybody do the laughing and it's a picture, those are literally guys who helped us build this place, and they just love to come in,
Yeah.
sit down and bullshit with us, and like, hey, you want to make a video really quick? And that took us like what?
Well, about an hour.
About an hour
Yeah.
to shoot the whole thing, and then when he's in
Oh,
it,
yeah.
he's like, "Hey, welcome to Sacred 8." You can see me in the reflection of the TV doing this, and I'm like shaking the thing, like, "You better not fuck up." And
He's
this
like,
is like a fourth time
and
meeting,
he's like, thank you for coming to Sacred 8
And-
Studios.
and you
where-
see the script in the back,
Yeah.
just like, because I'm threatening him
Yeah,
for
yeah,
real.
yeah, yeah.
Don't you fuck this up? I don't care if you're 12. I'll beat the shit out of you.
He was 11, I think.
Yeah, same
thing.
The younger, but I mean, the younger they are, the bigger the trauma.
Yes.
And so the thing is that when you're creating content, when you're doing stuff like this, consistency is a huge part of it. But I also think authenticity is too, in the sense of it has to be the right time.
Yep.
I could have done every single short that we've ever planned out since 2016, and to be honest, they would have been funny. They would have been fun. They would have done a lot of things. But you said it perfectly. Is it the right time to share it in the quality or the frame of mind that you need to? It's where you're ready right now is not where I was ready 5 years ago. So where things are going for us in the next 2-3 years, I have all the scripts done. I have everything done. I have all the people there now. The Chad's Chubby Chases one, you know, a lot of people don't even know about those shirts, and we sold out of those. Like that was a big joke
every time.
Yeah, that
every
was a
time.
big joke, and none of the new members know about it. But we're bringing them back, and the Chad's Chastity Chapel ones. But we're doing an actual
Website?
No. We're doing an actual
Pre-order?
video of it, because you can. We have all the lights to make the little flashing, but I'm having Chad, because Edwin, we built him the suit.
Oh, yeah.
we had showed you that
Yeah.
out of like all the
The duct tape.
But it's in the back. Like, here's, you know, all that. It's like, yeah, it gets really hot in here when we're dancing. All right, next is Sin on Men. It's like
Sin on Men.
Yeah. Cinnamon? No. Sin on Men.
Oh,
And
God.
it's just like, I gotta get back on stage. You know, and just using the T-shirt to wipe their face. But it's dumb. Why would it work? It's because if you understand the Sanctorum, you understand the people that are part of it. And the number one thing, and we talked about this the last time you were here, that I think you guys have in spy loyalty. You have to earn it. So even if you have all the great marketing in the world, it would have. Most of the people don't know what's there because they don't know what to look for. Anthony and one of the other Magic players, fucking phenomenal guys, didn't even know we had a podcast. You know, we've been doing it 3 years.
Yeah.
You know, weekly. And they're like, oh, cool, we'll check it out. Whether they find it funny or not, it's nice to know that when they go back on it. So for you guys, the way you're moving up with your endeavors as Retro, it's going to be really cool in 10 years where, like you said, Retro will come to a precipice, but somebody has 10 years of backlog to go on and be like, oh, this is fucking cool.
Yeah.
You know, and I've always gotten that from going to museums. When it's like, on our very first year, this is when we had paper plates with all the menus on them. And it's like, who the fuck thought to save a paper plate for 85
exactly.
years?
Right.
Exactly.
You never know. You never know, man. It's fucking fun. What else do you guys want to talk about before the end of the night?
Charlie, even kind of.
Well, I think
quiet.
with the
Please.
content that you're creating and everything like that, and what we're doing, I think a big part of it is also just doing it for you.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Because if you do it for you, everybody's gonna see it.
Yeah.
Everybody's gonna see the passion that's behind it, the heart behind everything we've talked about. But if you
Absolutely.
do it for you, it will come out and it'll just be that much more appreciated and loved
Absolutely.
because you can tell you're doing it just for you, not doing it for 1 million views.
No.
I'm doing it for the 6 guys all around it just laughing,
Yeah.
and that's it.
Who were we talking about not that long ago? We were saying that does that just for them, just because they find it funny. Was it Adam Sandler?
Yeah, I think
He makes movies just for him and his friends because he
Yeah.
finds it funny.
And I don't think he really cares much how it's perceived
No,
by
no.
anybody.
And I love those movies.
Oh, yeah.
I absolutely love Adam Sandler movies. I oftentimes hang out with my friend Holly and we watch Adam Sandler movies. And something I was going to say earlier, we were talking about how close are you to being happy? What do you need to be happy?
Mm-hmm.
And it's funny because as much as where I'm at right now in my life, at 44, and I'm sitting there thinking about I got these things, I got this, I got that. I realize now more than ever that I don't need any of this stuff to be happy.
Right.
And so I tell people now, I'm not ruled by plastic, and I'm not ruled by the dollar. I'm happy with the simplicity, the simple things. Sitting around watching anime or a TV show or a movie, having some pizza, chilling, hanging out, talking. Sometimes me, Charlie, and Holly will hang out. We just talk, have pizza, a few beers, watch a movie, laugh our asses off, and that's a perfect moment.
Absolutely.
You don't need anything more than that, And I have lost everything in my life twice.
Yeah.
So I know what loss feels like, and I had to get real comfortable with it, But I've also gained a lot in my life, some more than others.
Yeah.
But it only amplifies my appreciation because I had to prove myself that I was ready for such a blessing and a burden at the same time. Because running a shop, it is a lot of fun. It is a lot of work. It is a lot of burdens. My neck is on the line for a lot of things all the time,
Yeah.
And as much as I want to do all these cool things, I have to make sure it's financially doable. There's definitely some risks you take when owning a business.
It is not easy to run a business, but I think having the fun also, it is the catalyst for what makes things better, right? So if someone's listening to this and being like, what the fuck do I care? I don't own a business. It's well, you have to understand something. If you want to make a passion something that is something you look forward to, you got to find a way to enjoy that passion, even in the roughest of times. You've lost everything twice. I've lost everything 3 times. And if all this went away, it would really fucking suck, but I wouldn't be beside myself.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be oh man. But I think that's why when people are you don't seem like you take anything serious, and again, when they can't understand growth versus change, it's the idea of I grieve like a rich man, or I should say a wealthy man. Somebody who's had everything they've ever wanted. I've traveled all over the world. I've done some cool shit. I've seen some cool places and met some cool people. Cool. What does that mean today? It doesn't mean anything. I'm fucking physically here, right? And I still got my PG&Es to do in 4 days. And
He's back.
The thing is what does any of that matter if that's the only thing I can lord over people, right? Well, I went to Germany once. Well, fucking people are going to Germany every day, asshole. Why the fuck do I care? There's a lot of people trying to get out of Germany a few years back, if I remember. But not everybody was so lucky. But I mean, in that case, when you think about that, because I've had those experiences, I don't have the fear of what if. So when I think people actually try to strive for their dreams, strive for their goals, there's something about you at some point in your life that has to grow and age with you like fine wine. At the beginning of the pod, in the center of the pod, and now we're talking about how, what ages gracefully. And hopefully that age is growth in the ideology of, did you really go and do the thing you wanted to do? Even if it failed, did you go and do the thing that you really wanted to, and was it fucking worth it? So when people are like, well, why do you run your shop the way you guys do? And why is it that you guys do yours? It's like a joke to you. Yes, because I have learned how to fucking cry, yell, and be angry at everything else. All I can do is laugh because it's not as bad as it used to be, man.
Yeah.
At least I fucking tried. A great video I would love to see of you guys, and shit, I'll even help you guys shoot the damn thing. You look exactly like the dad from fucking Casper, dude.
Bill
That's
Pullman.
it.
Bill Pullman.
Yeah, that is 100% him.
Independence Day
That's
president
like
right there.
Bill
That's
Pullman.
legit. That's legit.
That is
Right there.
look at that. And then camera 4. Bam. Tell me what the
Do
green
the
screen.
Independence.
Oh yeah. Dude, you guys could do an Independence Day fucking sale.
Yes,
That's
there you go.
Independence Day.
It's
You
right in
guys-
the back of the truck.
Yeah,
When he makes that speech.
exactly. Fucking, and then
Yes.
and then you just have your token Will Smith. That'll be you. We'll give you a high top face. Oh my god. We'll even lend you Dadpool as fucking Jeff.
There you
Goldblum.
go. There you go.
So just have Charlie just pop up the back of the trunk of the car.
It just says alien on his shirt. He's all. But you know what I'm saying? It's like when people look at that, and it's like when I look at you and I see that in my head, I think, isn't it funny how all of us at our age are still laughing the way we did genuinely as kids and as young individuals who were like, wouldn't this be fucking cool if we just had a good time, and then you brought it to other people to have that good time? What aged with fine wine, like fine wine, and with time itself, has been our suffering. You know, because
Definitely.
we had to find
Definitely.
peace of mind in it, and then you have a positive mental attitude. Not every day is better. Not every
No.
day is perfect.
No.
But because we've suffered and lost, look at what we came out with. You know, you can't have growth unless you have loss.
Yeah.
People don't want to hear that, man, but it is what it is. And if you're going to go to these places, that's why Retro's Society and Sacred 8 Society is always a place of growth, because you're around people who get it, who understand it. And if you don't want to add to that, dude, that is completely and absolutely fine. Go and suck somewhere else. You know, that's on you, but it's not on me, and it's not on you guys. And I'm very grateful that we got to meet you guys and
Hell yeah.
see you guys grow to your thing, because we're only a year behind you. And the funny thing is, like, it feels like two different worlds that are so, like, ironically enough, you guys aren't, I mean, geographically, topographically, you guys aren't far at all.
No, not
But
at
it
all.
feels like a completely different world from
is.
Yeah.
Monterey Seaside to Campbell.
It's a different societal culture over here for sure.
It is.
Definitely.
I mean,
Different pace.
Yeah, you over where we are. I mean, you look at it's so integrated. The society is so it's fast. It's not New York fast, but it's fast.
Yeah.
And the integration of people, it's like if 10 people walk in the store or 1,000 people walk in the store, there's 10 different people or 1,000 different people. It's from 1,000 different walks of life, and be able to meet those people is it's not a challenge, but it's like it's something that you have to do.
Right.
You have to be able to meet that. Otherwise, you're not gonna get them as a return customer.
Yeah.
I agree.
Anything you boys want to say before we close out for the night?
I was going to suggest, if you guys are up for a little road trip, let's go to Two Player Arcade Shop over in Monterey.
It's like 2 miles down the road.
Yeah, it's over on Foam Street, right
Yeah.
next
It's
to
one
Iron
of our
Crown.
good friends. He used to work for Rudy. Now he opened up his own shop.
Oh,
Yeah.
for sure. I would be down. I would let you know what my schedule is like. But other than that, I would love to. Before we end the pod,
Yes.
First and foremost, what is your recommendation for the week? So we do what is movie, music, and or film or TV that you're recommending to anybody. In this case, a video game.
Actually, I would love to recommend music if I could.
Please,
Absolutely.
go ahead.
I was thinking about that because Charlie was asking, like, what's our playlist for our store? We'd asked about our playlist often. And I would recommend Peter Zimmerman right now on Spotify. He had a new album that dropped, and it's basically Japanese covers of popular 80s songs.
All right.
It's
And
pretty dope.
it is very dope. I'm going to see here if I can find out.
It's
what-
just
what-
Evanescence.
what-
Oh, no,
not again.
You don't even know. The other night, I recorded a very passionate karaoke
Rendition.
version of it, and
Oh, thank you for being so formal.
it was
Yes.
it was
It's terrible.
it's memorable. It's memorable for sure. But yeah, Peter Zimmerman's "Smooth" remakes number 2. The Never Japanese Footloose cover is incredible. So
If you can text me the Spotify link, I'll post it in the Discord.
sure.
Yeah, for anybody that's listening. There is your music. Do you have a film, video game, and or TV show?
Oh, I have to do all three?
If
Okay.
you want to, you don't have
Yeah,
to.
you don't have to.
Wanderlust with Paul Rudd. If you guys,
I do remember.
if you haven't seen that, I guarantee you it is be one of the funniest shits you have seen in a long time. Paul Rudd is a national treasure. Absolutely Wanderlust. If you even have to rent it for $2.99, $3.99 on YouTube, fucking watch it. It's worth the $4. Absolutely.
All right.
What was the last thing? A video game?
Sure.
I don't play video games. Some new.
And one more.
Currently, I have been playing Final Fantasy 16. But if I could recommend something to step outside your comfort zone, if you want kind of a cozy game, arcadey game, silly game, serious game, badass game, I would recommend Like a Dragon: Infinite Wealth. That is excellent.
Okay. Cool. What about you, brother?
Video game, I would go with Unicorn Overlord. I've been playing that the last week. It's a strategy game. It's but I just really like the art style, and more or less I'm there for the story. I just want to see the story more or less. Man, TV show or a movie. I mean,
What have we been watching?
I got to go Game of Thrones.
there you go.
Okay.
He's just now.
I've never seen it.
Oh,
really?
Okay.
Yeah, I'm
Season
I'm going
8's the
season
best.
4.
Yes. The
Yeah.
last season's the
So,
best.
The little asshole just got poisoned.
Yeah.
Joffrey
yeah.
just got
Joffrey,
poisoned.
the Red Wedding.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
fuck.
That one was rough.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
was. I was like, holy shit! I'm like, they're fucking killing. I'm like, I know they kill everybody in that show, but I was like, they're killing everyone.
Get
Yeah.
ready for a Red Wedding. That's cool. Okay. Game of Thrones. What else? Music.
Music. Oh man. Well, I gotta plug our boys if you're out there listening. Nestor.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
Nestor.
Nestor.
That's kind of like the themes
That
of
is-
the Retrofix.
It is.
Okay.
It is. It is the
Um,
album to the Retrofix for sure.
They
Nestor.
have a lot of great music. They're a new how like it's a new.
It's a Swedish band that sings in English. Their style sounds very 80s, early 90s rock,
Okay.
but it's modern.
but it's new.
All right.
Yeah, it's
and
like
they,
new
they-
wave.
you can
Yeah,
tell
yeah.
it's a bunch of guys just like us. They're with their friends. They've been friends since 1989, and they're having just fun making kick-ass music, and everyone just loves what they're doing. And 1989 is actually the theme song to the Retrofix. So whenever you see like our outro and it's that little clip right there, that is 1989 by Nestor.
By Nestor.
Yeah,
Okay,
Nestor.
cool. If you can go ahead and
Oh yeah,
text that to me and I'll post it in the
for
Discord.
sure.
For
Hell
sure.
Yeah. About to get some new fans.
What about you, Sweet Cheeks?
Oh, let's see. I'm gonna start with music. I just found this band earlier today. It's called Hate Beak. It's these two guys that write like basically fucking metal songs. Their lead singer
It's a parrot.
is a fucking parrot,
I saw
dude.
that. Holly sent that
Oh
to me
my
this morning.
god, it's fucking incredible,
I haven't
dude.
heard it yet, but Holly
Oh,
sent it to me today. I gotta
incredible.
Check it out. Yeah, it's wild,
so-
right?
Hate Beak.
Hate Beak,
Hate Beak, dude,
The
and
lead
it's
singer
it's
is a fucking
yeah,
parrot.
it's dope, dude. It's some dope shit.
We're gonna check that on the ride home.
Let's see. As far as shows, I just finished Skeleton Crew. Definitely 9 out of 10 for me on that one. Like I was surprised at after the Acolyte and the disappointment in that. I think I gave it like a 6.
Charles,
maybe
don't get angry.
Yeah, old head, please don't be mad. Like after watching that and the disappointment, seeing this
Acolyte
show
was
and
so rough.
the way that they approached it, it gave a lot of the old school nostalgia feelings in the right ways, and the story
Nice.
for the first time was like not like any of the other ones, and where it takes place in the Star Wars universe, that's where I'm most happy, because it's like right after Return of the Jedi. It's right around the Mandalorian timeline, so you can see the Republic is still struggling, trying to keep a hold of the grip of the galaxy before, obviously, in the next 10 years or whenever the timeline ends, going into the Disney sequels when they do the New World Order or whatever it is, the First Order. So, but definitely check that one out. I got to see the End of Creature Commandos, which we'll get into that next week for sure.
dude,
Because,
that was-
dude, that again, another surprise show. James Gunn, you got to give it up for him on this one. Like I was really not really that surprised, but I was surprised at how well that he made a lot of these D-list characters, or these characters that you really didn't like know too much about. You could actually care about their backstories, and I think for me, the Weasel backstory, fucking, that is probably the best one that I saw out of all the different origin backs. But that one for me was like spot on.
That's awesome.
Let's see, and then as far as reading, I'm going to suggest Ultimate Wolverine. I just picked up the issue yesterday. We finally got our books in. Yeah, It's if for those that haven't been following along, the Ultimates, whatnot. In Marvel, this is the maker who has taken Wolverine and basically changed up his storyline. I don't want to give away any of it because I really want you guys out to go and read it. But let's just say that it's unlike what I thought they were going to do with this character, and it ties in with what some of the new movies that are about to be coming out. So,
nice.
Yeah, that's my recommendations for the week. So there we
Cool.
go. What about you, sir? What are you going to?
Definitely, since you already said Creature Commandos, Sakamoto Days on Netflix.
Mm-hmm.
Phenomenal. If you just want a good comedy, if you want to fill that void that Dan Dedan has left,
Oh yes.
definitely check that out. As far as music, there are two people. I mean, I refer him all the time, but his new single Dynamite is phenomenal. As everything he does, Prof, a big hip hop head. But I did find this new person on the very last 2 days of TikTok's.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, the very last days that it's on its last leg. But her name is La Dame Blanche. And oh man, fucking amazing. She's like if Lizzo took care of herself. It's like hip hop slash salsa. All fucking day, baby.
Damn.
Where's she from?
Yeah. I'm sorry?
Where is she from?
I do not know. I just started listening to her, and to be honest, it gives me a lot of vibes of the original Malagueña and Muerte songs from Gorillaz, their B-sides, when they would
Okay.
like
Yeah, I
mix
see
them
that.
up. Oh,
I see
yeah,
that.
100%.
Because that was her on the flute.
Yeah.
Because you couldn't see it. That
Oh,
was
yeah,
her.
absolutely.
She was playing flute.
Yeah, if anyone was confused if that was Chris. But that would be my music choice. As far as to read Crux, the brand new comic book that is from a local creator.
Yes.
I am releasing the cold cut this week for his comic book. I actually really enjoyed it.
Yeah, it was badass.
Yeah, I liked it a lot. So I would go ahead and check that out. It is in all local stores. You can check it out at Current Comics. You can check it out at Intergalactic Imports or here at Sacred 8 if our doors are actually open.
And we only have one copy at the shop.
Oh, you do?
Yeah, I only have one copy.
We got like 10.
Well, because John hasn't gotten back to the guy after he said he read it, but I read
Oh.
it and told him, dude, that was.
Yeah. All right. Fuck everybody else. Come pick it up over here.
Yeah.
You know, I'll give 2 to Retrofix. So you
Yeah.
can pick it up Retrofix. Fuck you, John. JD. Yeah. And so, yeah, that would be it. And then I would probably say, let's see. Video game wise, did you choose a video game?
I did not, but you know what? I will mention one because I just ordered it and it should be here tomorrow, actually. I found a guy on Etsy. His name skips me for the meeting, and I apologize. I'll try to remember for next one. But is Ninja Gaiden, an 8-bit Nintendo that he's modded, and it's fucking Deadpool. And I had to have it, so that's going to be there on Friday.
That's
That-
cool.
oh,
That's
dude,
crazy.
that's I'm all about these mod games. And so after he sent me that, he asked me what other systems do I have and what system am I going to get this one for, and I told him I have a bunch of different ones. And then he said, I have another Deadpool game that's based off of Contra, and I'm like, here's my fucking money. Yeah, so
We have a vendor who may or may not be doing our vinyl,
Hey.
but they have a bootleg section of vinyl that people make their mixes, some really great stuff, but they call it the school bus because legally they're not supposed to be selling it. I'm not saying they do sell it, but if you ever
Donations.
if you ever find things that's on the school bus,
The donation.
yeah.
Donations.
As far as video games, just because I really enjoyed replaying it since Sansu had never seen it before. Shadow Colossus.
Oh, yeah.
That one was, I mean, it's a time and true game, but
A great,
Yeah.
phenomenal game.
yeah,
Phenomenal.
the art is what I'm really just drawn to most of. But okay, where can people find you guys at? Go ahead. Share.
You find these hands in these streets.
I'll put them around me.
You can find the Retrofix 2 Turbo in historic Campbell, California, 400 East Campbell Avenue. Or you can find us online at the Retrofix2Turbo.com and also on Instagram at the Retrofix2Turbo. And there you'll get to see and creepily stalk my store in this gorgeous face.
All right.
all right.
Anywhere else that you guys want want to shout out to? Anything before we go?
Charlie dances on the weekends.
All right.
So we know about the donations.
Let's go, baby. Keep up to date with all things Sacred 8 at sacred8studios.com. If you want to catch us, you can catch us on the Discord. You can catch us on Instagram. You can catch us on YouTube. Anything for the podcast. If you also know that we do have the Valentine's Day Pod War coming up. We have the top 4 teams coming together for a $500 prize that the shop will match. Best will be done, and you will see it on Valentine's Day live. So if you guys want to check that out, it is always going to be free. We will see you guys soon. Thank you guys for coming out.
Thank you. Thanks
Let's go
for
to
having me.